Hello, hello, hello. How's it going there, Citrus? Good to see you today. Glad that you didn't miss it today. So we're in the career build series save here, so gonna continue the efforts to make some money and move some diesel so that we can actually feed that new home ship. So I think what we'll do here is we're over at FJ. It's not that much money to bring a container, so I think what I'll do is, let's see. We need to get some oil. We need some diesel moving, frankly. Let's go ahead real quick and check the costs of some things. Because I want to see how much this ship's going to cost to launch. We have some diesel here, not a lot. We can ferry it better. But yeah, we really can't pump it in. That's the problem. Let's see, what do you cost, sir? Sir or madam? 213. So we have the money for this. Can't do much else. Let's go ahead and see. Because we need to... We're making some diesel. Let's go ahead. I'm just going to teleport around here. We'll figure out what the plan is. How's it going there, Luca? So we're going to go ahead and look here, and we'll see what our stores are presently. So where's the... Right here. Okay, so jet. We have 10,000 liters of diesel. Looks like it's stopped, so likely it's full. All right, so this is full. So we'll go ahead and we'll empty this out. So 10,000 liters, it's not a full complement for the ship, but it is about a third full, I think. Yeah, maybe a little bit more than a third full. So doing that will get us going here. W50, okay. Take the W50 out. And we'll go fill up with some diesel. And we'll put the diesel in this, actually, we don't want it here. Let's see. We could take the drive all the way to FJ. Let's see, what do we have in this base here? Currently, we have 3,400 liters of diesel here. So we'll go ahead and we'll take all this diesel. Or we'll fill this up with diesel, and we'll go ahead and we'll bring it to FJ to launch that ship. Alright, there we go. Check our settings again. I want to get rid of no clip. There we go. Okay, good. That's... Still haven't hooked up trailer systems to this. I want to redo, or update T-Test to have air brakes, so, and hose connections, so. We'll go ahead, we'll fill this up. We'll probably end up doing something while this is filling. It'll take a little time, so we can go do a mission or something while this is filling up. And then, go ahead, we'll take this over to FJ. That'd be 10,000 liters in the dock. We'll be able to get the ship out. We don't have a ton of money at that point, so we should probably grind up some cash, so maybe we don't want to be that hasty with it. We'll see. Go ahead and we'll do some missions. Get a little cash. But looking forward to tomorrow's announcement. It's supposed to be a big announcement tomorrow, so I would say it's probably, if I were to guess, something to do with the first major. They said 4 majors in 2024. You know, they said no DLC this year, but the DLCs have been coming out in October, and so it looks like, you know, the last major of last year came out at the same time, so it came out in October, which is not unusual for a company to kind of put out their last products before the holiday season, as they imagine work is going to start slowing down. And so you figure it's pretty much in line if they do 4 majors and they're trying to get the last one out end of October that we're looking at somewhere end of January, beginning of February could be the first major. So if I were to guess, I would say it's probably an announcement of the majors. They stated a few weeks ago that they don't want to make announcements too far in the future because things are subject to change, and of course people take them as promises, which they shouldn't. And you know, so that's that would ring true to me that they're going to announce what the next major is, or you know, hint at it or something like that. But I'd say if they say it's a major announcement, it's probably going to be what the major is going to be, because I doubt they're going to just completely play a lot of games with it. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and rev up a little bit, get the gen going here. I should put an electrical plug on this for electricity. Let's see. I don't know why that says lower. Okay, get rid of this defib. Alright, let's grab the diesel out of here. We need this for our ship. So. Okay, so that's pumping. Hopefully this works a little bit faster now. You notice that the temperature is cold, and that is because the tank is full, so the oil is just sitting in there, can't go anywhere. So that's why it's not heating up. So it's why I put this recirculating pump on here is, if you look at the temp's going to struggle to go up because we have that cold oil sitting in there. And so what we can do is we can turn this on. This will send the oil out. And so if we look at the oil volume, fraction volume here, it should be letting more hot oil in. And so let that cycle for a little while so we can get the temp up. What's the valve set to here? Eventually I'll PID control this, but I'll get to do that. Let's see, I'm going to play with this valve for a little bit, see what I can do. Still precipitously dropping, so I'll shut that outflow valve off here. Not actually dropping anything anyways. Will that push that back in? That should push that back in. So let's go ahead and try this. Let's go ahead and shut off the fraction tower pump. That will shut this pump off here. And then we'll turn on this pump, and it should help to drain this. It doesn't. Okay, why? Should go there, should tee out. I don't have a one-way valve on here. I don't know why it would. Oh, because the oil's probably full. That's probably a problem. Probably completely full, the oil, so that could be a problem. Could have run into an issue here where we've completely filled it up, and the way the system works, it's not going to be able to recycle it to heat it all the way up. But that could be an issue. Because what happened is, if this tank's full, I can't push the oil back up in there and essentially do a fresh run. So it's completely packed, and I'm not going to be able to cycle fast enough to get the temp up maybe. So turn it back on. We'll see what we can do. If I have an issue, I can just drop it and get it to come back. All right, we'll try to Dude, are you the same one that was asking in Discord for a free copy? If you beg for somebody to buy the copy of the game, I'm just gonna boot you. It's not cool. It's not couth. I meant to warn you in the Discord. So. You know, go out and do some work and buy it. It's not fair to anyone else to buy you a copy. So that's your first warning on that. So let's not do that again, please. All right, so let's see. So this will probably have to be despawned, and that's all right. We can work on this a little bit, so that's worth working on this anyway. So go ahead and we'll keep getting the diesel out. See where we're at. We pulled about 2,000 liters at the moment. About 3. We're pumping pretty fast now, so let's see what the rate is. 11 liters per second. All right, good. So we're gonna go ahead, and I'm just gonna get out of here. And we'll try to get a new mission. Try to go grind some cash while that is going. So let's go. If we're going to teleport, might as well teleport right to the bed. Why Discord? Why, or why YouTube? Why do you make it difficult? Here we go. All right. Let's go ahead and sleep in the bed and we'll add that to the rules. Discord's a pain because it, depending on your monitor, the formatting is different. So like you try to do the rules page and the formatting is different, so it's quite annoying. What the hell did I just do there? Added a rule on there to try to prevent this. I find it very uncool when people just come in asking, begging for other people to buy them the game. Alright. Formatting on Discord's terrible. Alright, let's go ahead and see what's up. Did I sleep? I don't know if I did. We'll sleep anyway. Try to get rid of some of these transpo missions that keep coming up. Blue speedboat. Okay, let's see. Right there. So let's go do this one. That's 11 grand. That's some good money. So we need the cash. Need it, need it, need it, need it, need it. Okay, let's go get it. How's it going there, Owl? Always traveling, huh? Jump out of my seat there. I jumped out of my seat. Alright, let's go ahead out here. Let's look for this. It's a good bit of cash, so we want that money. So up around the horn, and then we'll head up there. So we'll just quickly put a waypoint up here. I always forget where everything is in this. Cat stood on the power button again. I gotta do something about this. He's driving me nuts with this. He just constantly keeps stepping on the power button every time I stream. It is getting frustrating. He jumps off right on the power button and he pauses everything, and like I'm afraid the computer's gonna shut down. This could use some pid tuning. Been on a pid tuning tear lately, just pid tuning constantly. So. All right, what did I say? Blue speedboat should be in visual range here. So let's see. What I shall do is I shall trade out my defib for a fresh one. And then when this gets despawned, it will have the old defib, so I don't lose the money. I can have a fresh. There it is, right there. Okay, good. Let's shut off that and head on over. Alright, so I don't know how many people are going to be there. 11,000 is pretty good, though. Need that cash. We can always go sell some jet fuel if we need money. Nice, we have a fire too, so we can put that out with the hose. Be nice to get up to the Arctic. That'd be something cool to do. Chuck today's picture up to the Arctic for the screen. For the thumbnail, rather. Try not to run over that person. So 4 is pretty good money. Up with this hose now. You spray there, guy? There we go. I'm a little bit too far away. Hopefully I can get it. Thought I would move the boat up. I thought we'd coast a little bit further. Alright, let's quickly push up just a hair. Yeah, see, like, I can jump with the fire hose now. I don't know if it was just the fire extinguisher, but I'm thrilled they got rid of the fire extinguisher flying on land. I know there's, you know, it's kind of split in the community where some people want a more cartoony experience and some people want a more realistic experience, and so I kind of like that they aim towards realism in that one. Oh, right in the drinky poos. Let's get up there. Come on there, guy. Get up there, son. Alright. Let's get you put away. Got another reser there. So I'll grab a health kit while I'm there too. Ah, I thought I missed. Alright. Let's see, where's Alright, let's go get the rest of these people. How are you? Could you like swim 2 inches closer, please? I think not. You know, I do get people's desire to have more lively or interactable people, but I also, like, I think it would be annoying if they were, like, all over the place and being obnoxious and, like, swimming constantly and, you know, so I don't know, you know, that's another one where people will say, you know, they'll talk about the NPCs being mannequins. I would just like to see, well, what do you, like, don't stop that thought. Like, explain what an improvement to you would be. Like, people would just be like, the NPCs are so dead and lifeless. Okay, well, what do you want them to be like? You know, you have to, you know, come up with some solutions. Like, okay, well, do you want them to walk on paths? Do you want them to jump out of danger? Like, if they're getting burned, do you want them to move until they stop getting burned? Like, that would be cool. You know, but the problem then is, you know, you would get people who are no longer incapacitated, and then I think the fear for a lot of games is you get the NPC characters glitching into things, and then you have to worry about that, where if they glitch into things, you're going to get SV environmental problems, and you're going to get, you know, the people are going to die because they glitched in, or you're going to have, you know, when a person glitches into an object, the object will then go flying, so you have to worry about that stuff too, which, like, it was the crash that crashed my game there from all the NPCs not despawning was an NPC got pushed by the door into the wall, so the NPC merged with the wall, and then that was a problem, and it crashed the game. You know, so I think it's easier said than done. Some of these things of like having lively NPCs because you have to worry about them running into stuff. How far can you go before catching fire? What do you mean, your character or your? What are you talking about? Oh, I'm not sure. How's it going there, Alexander? Sounds good. Yeah, so a little bit cash-a-roni on this one. Got 3,000 for the fire already, plus the 4 of these people's another 12 grand. That's pretty good money. Got steady progress on money, and then we have enough jet fuel. We can just sell it off if we need to. Oh, 2 boats close to each other? Yeah, I'm not sure. I was worried about that myself. When they touched, it happens pretty quick. That's why I kind of went running out to try to go hit it with water. I was afraid that it was going to try to damage my boat. Makes like the gray damage pretty quick though, I think. How's it going there, SYM Jet Danny 99? How are you? All right, so we'll drive these people off using the new van that has the capacity, so that's gonna be cool. I like being out, you know, having some good use cases for some of the toys. So built that little key van, and now we get to use it. So good. You know, my guess would be if the devs fix the fuel pumps, quote unquote, soonish, we're probably gonna have to run a new save because I think any sort of the elements that go in game are gonna need a new save. I'm not 100%, but I would think that is likely. But it's, you know, it's pretty easy to redo the save. The only thing that's a pain is to re-drill the oil, But I'd probably just like not bother even re-drilling over here, and I would drill over by FJ. Because that's much more convenient. Like, I was even thinking of just starting to drill there. But I don't want to have the pumping station over there sitting, because this one's not as useful to me anymore. Because I do most of the ops out of FJ, because it has airport docks, and it has the train station, and then it has a pumping station pretty close. Alright, there we go. Let's get these bad Johns out of here. Right. There we go. Oh, just missed on that one. Yeah, like if I go up this ladder and I phase into Brigeau, it can be a disaster, and it wouldn't surprise me if that's one of the reasons why they don't prioritize trying to animate these NPCs more. Is you gotta worry about that quite a bit. It was like one of the things in Star Citizen, like the size of the ships are way oversized, and one of the reasons they did that was they have the fantasy that you're gonna have these NPCs walking around your ship, and because of that, you know, you have to make the hallways oversized so that you can get by them, so that they don't accidentally glitch into each other or into the wall, because that can crash the game and cause huge issues. And so, you know, like in Star Citizen, they make the corridors way oversized, and so then the ships have to be way oversized, and so it's some of those things are, you know, issues that sometimes people don't think about that could be a problem. Here we go. Got a nice little conga line going here. Oh, back to Firefox, yeah. Yeah, the I was curious if you, I know you guys were talking about Chrome and Firefox the other day, and I'm curious if that was because of like there's been an issue. It popped up on Reddit is where I saw it, that YouTube has been throttling if you use an ad blocker, and it's just like, you know, throttling your CPU if you use an ad blocker. And so it like I have YouTube Premium, so I have to shut the ad blocker off, because I was like, why is my PC running so slow? And it was because of that nonsense. Let's see. Should be pretty recent. Let's see, where is that? Right there. Pactivan. Forgot what I called it. So, all right, let's start plumbing you people in there. Come on. So this has a pretty good capacity, so. There you go, buddy. All right, let's go dump these peeps. And then I think the way I put pumps on the rig itself now, so it should be a little bit faster. So hopefully we should be full and we can bring the diesel back. Yeah, that's what I'm using too, that block, and it was just like, it was completely like, I was like, why is my PC running so terribly? Like, I have a gig internet and a really good PC, and it was like, why? And it was, wasn't even showing the CPU throttle, but that's what they were saying on Reddit was, it was, you know, YouTube was throttling. Then I paused ad block when I was running a YouTube video, and it like the whole PC started working better. And I was like, yeah, that's right, what it is. But, you know, I've got YouTube Premium, so I don't really care. I just shut the ad block off. But I can see it being frustrating if you don't have Premium. Yeah, the problem YouTube was having, I guess, was, you know, they're paying people, you know, their ad revenue. And then, you know, essentially what was happening was people were using the ad blocks, and so they were getting paid by the ad companies, and for ads that people were not seeing. And then the ad company was, of course, get annoyed by that, because they're paying for an ad that nobody saw. And then they would, you know, so YouTube was having to eat it, essentially. So that's why I think they did it, was they're just eating all that money. All right, there we go. Hiya. Stop following me, people. So these people may or may not, yeah, they're not despawning because of the oil rig. So that'll be the other nice thing, is to get rid of this oil rig over here, because this oil rig has to keep active. It's close enough to here that it is keeping all the people from despawning. So what I probably will do is I might start drilling it over here, and then just like take this off, and then we'll operate over here, because it's easy for me to run trucks back and forth, or even a train back and forth to fill this up, because like I was gonna move the diesel into here, but the problem is I can't spawn that ship here, and I'd have to get it close enough and then take a hose and fill the ship from the hose. So it's better just to move the fuel. So I think that's what probably we'll do. This was a good base to start with, though, for, you know, making cash. That really helped. So, all right, let's get out of here. Oh, yeah. Got all the fans spun up for that. My fans are always spun up. My computer's loud, but noise canceling headsets. Which the noise canceling was actually not turned on, so now it is. Alright, so let's go ahead and put this away. Let's check our cash. So, why are we up on cash? I think we're down from the beginning of the episode. How is that? The hell? No, we're up. We're up 7. I think we're at 32. Oh, you know what it is? The truck. The truck is that's what it is. The W50. Because I thought we were like around the same amount of money. It's the W50. Alright, so let's see. We're probably airlocked in there, which is fine. Yeah, see, we're slowed down, and that's probably because if we look, I bet you if we look at this air here, it will be, I bet you if we look at the air, it is probably, it's coming out, but it's coming out slowly. This is why no clip was invented, because IRL would just grab on and climb up, but. Alright, let's go ahead and check it. One thing I've started to do is, I've found it works a little bit better too, is that, like, see, the pressure's not up, so it doesn't look like there's water clogging this. So, like, if you notice your atmospheres is very high, especially if it's 60, what's happening often is it's pushing liquid up into here, and then it doesn't come back out. And so you get liquid and air in here, and then only air can come out. So eventually this fills with as much liquid as it can and pressurizes. So like one thing you can do in certain situations is you actually would let the water and air come up, and then you would put a T-piece here, and you'd run the water back, or the liquid back down in. And so sometimes I found that allows you to have higher flow rates. So we could play with some testing too and see what's up with that. Alright, so let's shut that off really quickly. Alright, so let's take this, you know what we'll do? We'll just, I'm trying to think what I want to do here. I think we're going to save this. Maybe 25 today, 25, okay. And let's open up the testing world. I want to play with some things. Where is it? Right here, custom right there. It is bizarre when it registers me clearing my throat. I moved the mic away, and because I moved the mic away, the creaking noise activated the mic, and then it recorded. If I just like clear my throat into the mic, it wouldn't have recorded. All right, let's see. So like, let me show you what I'm talking about here. So like, so here I'll do it on this test here. Why don't I come up with a test for this at some point? So like, I was talking about this before. Like, there is an issue right now where it's not impossible, but it's pretty much impractical to try to sink something with weapons because it doesn't take in enough water and it's not doing gas transfer. But people keep conflating the issue, and they'll say you can't sink a ship. You can sink a ship, and so they'll say you can't sink a ship. Somebody will say you can sink a ship, and they go, no, you can't. I put 20 torpedoes on it, it doesn't sink. It's like, that's not what you said. You said you cannot sink a ship, which means a ship can never be sunk. You didn't say a ship cannot be sunk with warheads. A ship cannot be sunk with weapons. You said a ship cannot be sunk, and then somebody corrected you. So, you know, people need to find, they need to be more specific, especially with, like, bugs in games. Is like, you read some of these bug reports, and they're just like, people are very non-specific, and it makes it very tough to actually, like, for people to understand what you're trying to accomplish, you know? Alright, so like, this is my sinking rig, so let's just quickly click it on here. And so this is what I was talking about, is so, like, the fastest way to sink is going to be to pump the air out, because the air is something, it's marbles. This is full of marbles, very loosely packed marbles of air. In order to let the densely packed marbles of water in, you need to push some of the marbles out, because eventually the marbles from the air are going to compress, they're going to touch each other, and they're effectively going to be a liquid. And so it's like, it's full. And so the less dense the liquids, the air is going to want to push out and push in. Now, you know, people act like this was just like the devs like did this on day one. It wasn't. It's been a long road since October where there were all sorts of issues where the air was moving very fast across doorways. Too fast. It was causing it so that the air was blowing out of the doorway so fast you could never get in. And so they reduced the rate. By reducing the rate, it makes it so that it takes longer to fill. And so likely if they come up with a solution where they have to solve two problems, and often when they fix one problem, it's causing problem two. And so that's why it's taking some time. And people act like, oh, the devs just like randomly throwing shit against the wall, see if it sticks. It's like, no, they had a problem and they solved it. And the game is in much better shape now, but the consequence of that is that right now it's harder to sink ships, which is not the primary focus of the game. But for some people, that's what they like to do. And so, you know, they need to have a little patience that likely it's getting worked on behind the scenes, but it's a complicated problem. You know, they're going to have to come up with a compromise which makes both parties happy, you know, and that's always challenging. So let's see what I was going to show you. So like this is what I was talking about here. So like this is pumping up both air and water. And so I could put an air I could put a gas relief valve here, but I found this works pretty well. Is if you just do your fluid port and then you pump into a pump and then you tee it off, and then I'm sending the liquid back. So I don't want this water to come out of this room. I want the water to stay in the room. So it pumps in through here and it goes back in the room. The air then can freely go up, and what I've noticed is this is causing it so the pressure doesn't build up in here. You'll often get to a point where it will quote-unquote clog, and it's clogging because you're putting water up here, and the water fills the T piece here. It would be a straight pipe if we didn't have the T. And so now you're trying to fill this pipe with both air and water, and eventually it's going to become so saturated with water, it would have to exceed 60 atmospheres to go by, and then it stops. And so by doing this is why we're having problems with the static pumps in game. You know, I'll fly over and show for those who haven't heard me talk about it before. And so you essentially, by having a system like this, the water has a place to go, the air has a place to go, and so it constantly moves, and everything's happy. And we're doing a good 64 liters per second here. Some of it air, some of it water. But you see it is flooding in here. It will flood in here. It will eventually sink. I need to work on a timer. Maybe you guys know what the best way to do the timer. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But like if you look right now, we have almost 39,000 liters of water in here, and we have a lot of air to get rid of. We have copious amounts of air to get rid of, and it's actually like the fill rate's pretty good. It's not huge, but you know, we're flowing pretty reasonably in here, but it's slow, you know, and that's the main complaint. And again, you know, they're gonna have to figure out how they want to do this so that they don't alienate both groups of people. They need to come up with a compromise that makes the people who want moon pools. This was one of the main features that they talked about when they announced the major update, was the ability to do moon pools, the ability to do pressurized ballast tanks. And so these changes had to happen in order to allow for those things. And now they're kind of trying to balance it. I talked yesterday about how like the last 1%, it takes you an infinite amount of time. So like I'd say they're 90% of the way there. That happened pretty quick, but that last 10% takes a while, and then the last 5% takes even longer, and the last 1% you'll never get. You know, and so that's kind of you know, just patience on that, frankly. You know, you can see we're filling with water, so it's like when people say you cannot sink a ship, you absolutely can sink a ship. I have a picture of this at the bottom of the ocean. It's hyperbole, and that's, I wish more people would get away from hyperbole. It's not really helpful, is because, you know, you'll say, you know, the sky was literally black, or the sky was literally green yesterday. And you go, no, it wasn't. The sky was not green. Well, it was greenish. Well, that's not what you said. You said it was literally green. you know. And so it was like, you know, you get that hyperbole, and then they wonder why somebody corrects them. It's like, yeah, because you know you said a bunch of nonsense. You know, so you know they're gonna have to work on this, the devs. You know, like you see, I'm pushing more through this fluid port than the 10, but it looks like water is pretty much limited to around 10 liters per second in this fluid port. Like people have said, oh, you can push more water through if you're pushing air through. I'm skeptical of that because, like, if we look here, we're pushing 53.4 and we're pushing 44. So if I were to guess, out of this 53, 10 is water. Hey, look, 10. And the rest of it, 43, is air. So when people are saying, oh, I'm pushing more water through with air, I don't think so. I think the water is limited to about 10 liters per second. I think that's probably a number they put in the game, is around 10, you know, it's not exactly 10 liters per second, but around 10 liters per second. Because if you look here, we're doing 51, subtract off 9, and guess what? We get 42 air. So, and if we look over here, there's about 10. So we're limited in these fluid ports about 10, and the problem with that is, for example, raw water cooling for a lot of engines in-game, you need higher than 10 liters per second. You need like probably 75 liters per second for most systems to run. And so that's another limitation. It's a balancing thing. They're going to have to work on it, you know. Just read some chat. Yeah, this is the flow rate. This is the problem too, is I think they put a hard limit on these doors, and it was why I talked about it. Was I wish I could find a video of it. Right off the bat. Like here, let's see if I can find a video from right when they released it. Because, you know, a lot of people, they forget what happened right when it came out. They forget how things happen. Like, I literally made a tank of water. I put a custom door on top of it, and the air would blow out of there so hard, constantly, and infinitely, would never stop, that you could literally fly over the water. You could just jump over the air and float. And so, of course, that is not desired behavior. And so they had to tone down the rate at which air and water can go through doorways. Now, if they're independent, if you can set a value for water, it's easy. You say, okay, we'll increase the water. But then the water pushes on the air, which is a desired and realistic effect that we should have. Well, how fast does it pressurize the air? So if water, so say for example this happens. All right, so this was a feature the devs said was coming to the game, was if the pressure was too high in this room, let's say the air pressure was very high, it would blow us out of these hatches, okay? So if the water comes through this hatch too fast, it would blow us out of these hatches, which is somewhat realistic. You get air blowing through, but you know, you're going to get people dying in game every time they try to flood a ship. The air pressure, let's say, okay, oh my God, this is the sinking ship survival that a lot of people enjoy, and that some YouTubers, do. That's pretty much all they do. And so, like, oh my God, my ship's flooding. I want to run around and I want to go do things. And I want to shut watertight doors and do this. And I want to go to engineering and I want to launch the lifeboats and I want to do this and that and this. And that's great. That's good, fun gameplay. But the problem is, if you had the system when it first came out, if you open this hatch, the water would come in fast. It would compress the air. And now you have compressed air. And it's going to try to blow you out the hatch. And so you're trying to do all these cool things in your ship, and you can't, because the second this water comes in, the pressure is so harsh that it pushes you out the hatch. And so you would just get blown around your ship, and it would suck. And so, so that's why I think it's a little bit harder of a problem than just say, like, oh, fix overnight, yay, done, is, they have to come up with a way to limit, if they limit how fast air goes through doors. Once we get, I think, 20 atmospheres, your player character dies. You can die from too much pressure, which is realistic, right? If pressure quickly changes, you'll die. And so what that would mean is if you open the hatch, the room would quickly pressurize and you would die. So that's something you wouldn't want, right, in game? So I think it sucks that they don't just have the magic formula to fix this right off the bat right now. But some people make it seem like that they're not considering these things, but like I think they're not taking the long view of all the negative things that would happen if they just try to instantly change a number and make it work. And that's the problem is, if you increase the flow rate of the water, you're going to compress the air. You're going to kill your player character as soon as the air pressure hits 20. As soon as the air pressure is high enough, you're going to get blown out of the hatch. And you're not going to be able to run around your ship, close watertight doors, fix your ship, do any of that. Your ship's going to be a goner. So at least with this system, you know, this is I think is a stopgap until they figure out what to do. Because like right now, my ship is sinking. Oh my god, if I wanted to play this type of gameplay, I could go, I could try to repair the ship, I could do a bunch of things, and I'm not getting blown out of the hatch. If we look at the atmosphere here, this isn't giving us a really good atmosphere, but let me see, what's that? Barometer, here is right here, barometer. So our current air pressure is 0.999. So we can live here. The problem is if the water came in so fast and it pressurized the air, we would die. And so that's the problem. So like here, let me make a quick, like Owl saying, remembers me having a problem getting out. Like I couldn't get out of places. Like that sucked. It made it so that you couldn't play. And so, you know, there are a bunch of people who act like, oh, you know, fix sinking ships. Okay, well, listen, you took 2 seconds to write that comment, fix sinking ships, right? And it's not that easy. It doesn't take 2 seconds to fix. And so it's a more complicated thing. And, you know, it's like the reason why it's taking time is it's complicated. If they increase the water pressure, water coming through the door, they're going to increase the air pressure and they're going to kill people with the pressure. So let me just do something real quick here. Do I have one? Let's see. Sink tank here. What's in here? Is this air? Air. So I could probably retrofit this here. So what's that pump go to? All right. So this goes at filling them. Okay. Let's go like this. So I understand it's frustrating for a lot of people, but it's like you gotta understand that, you know, if you fix problem A, you're gonna cause problem B. And so I think they're trying to, you know, figure this out and try to come up with a solution where they can not destroy anybody's gameplay 100% so that people can still enjoy playing the way they want, you know. But it's a challenge. It really is, you know. So like here, let's see. I have infinite electricity on, right? All right, so I'm gonna go in this thing here. All right, and so I'm gonna turn on player damage, and I'm gonna vent. So if we look here, this is 0. All right, let's fix that. All right, so now we have 100% pressure in there. All right, so now we have around 60 atmospheres in both of these huge tanks. Do we have a barometer in here? I don't. Right here, barometer. So we're at 0.99 pressure, right? A person can live at 1 atmosphere. That's why it's 1 atmosphere. Now we open this up, and I'm building pressure in here. And eventually I'm going to get to the point where I'm going to die because of the pressure. And so if we pumped water in here, it would start to compress the air. Oh, right there, see? We're already dying. So see us dying? That is one of the reasons why they can't just snap their fingers and fix this problem. Is if they did this, if we have too quick of a delta P, we would end up dying. And so that would be a problem. And so, you know, again, people thinking that it's just like, oh, well, just make it so the water comes in faster. Okay, well, how are you going to handle overpressurization and you dying because of overpressurization? They don't think of that, and that's why it's more complicated. You know, so right there is, as the air pressure goes up, you're going to die. And so that's going to be a problem. And so, like, here, let's do this. Let's do, let's see if I can do it with water. I don't know how many water tanks I'm going to need to do it, but, oh, it's, I wonder why the cat's jumping around, the auto feeder's going off. Like here. You know, so you have to kind of understand some of the physics of this stuff, and they're trying to keep it reasonable, but it's also like, you know, it would be great if you could just, like, give me magic, realistic numbers, and I'll type them all in. But, you know, you have to, it's harder than that, frankly. You know, you have these problems in real life. You have delta P problems where people die because of changes in pressure, rapid changes in pressure, and that was an advertised feature that was coming. You know, they did it in the live stream for space where they showed people getting blown out of rooms and stuff like this, and we'll just piss diesel in here. It's not a big deal because it's a liquid. So that's not going to be enough to probably fill this room, but we'll see what we can do here. So, like, as you pump in, you know, there's such a thing as a hydraulic pump here, where by pushing water in, you're compressing that air. So, if we push a liquid in, let me not say water, it's going to be diesel. If we push in a liquid, the pressure should go up in here. So I'm trying to find the barometer if I can step in the right place. The barometer, again, 0.99 atmospheres. All right. So let's start pissing diesel in here and look at the pressure, right? Exactly what would happen in real life. You're pushing more marbles into this room. As you push more marbles into the room, pressure is essentially how close the marbles are. Think of it that way. And so we're pushing more marbles in, but they're liquid marbles instead of gas marbles, and it's pressurizing the room. So the problem, again, is going to be as we fill this room with liquid, it's going to compress the air in here, and eventually, once it gets high enough, we will die. And so that is a realistic concern we have to worry about in games. So it's not as easy as saying increase the speed at which water goes through the doors. Now, theoretically, if you could increase the rate the air goes out of the doors and the water comes in the doors, it would equalize. But then you run into that problem I was talking about where it blows your player character out. And so that's another problem. So it seems like, oh, we'll just make sure that it pushes out as much air as it pushes in water. Okay, well then now your player character gets blown out a hatch, out a door every time, and you can't be in the room, which sucks too. So, you know, that's problematic. You know, so I don't know if there's a magic number they could change where it says, okay, your player character does not get blown until 20 atmospheres or something. You know, I don't know what it would be, but so you can see here again, all I'm doing is pumping liquid into this room, and this is at 10. It should be probably 10 liters per second is pushing it in here, about there, yeah, averaging 10 liters per second. You can see it pushing it in. There we go. It's increasing now. I don't know why it just increased, but it did. But you see, so we're building pressure in here, and I don't know what the threshold was. Let's do this real quick. Let's see when we die. There's 2.4. I think it was around 3 or 4. There we go. All right, so 4. When we hit 4 atmospheres, we start to die. So again, eventually we would pump in the water fast enough that we would hit 4 atmospheres and we would die. So, you know, this is where it's the balancing pass, and why balancing is like the longest part of game development as far as I understand is, you know, as you fix problem A, you create problem B, and that creates problem C, and that creates problem D. So the people are just like, well, just crush A. Okay, well, yeah, you crush A, you still cause B, C, and D. You know, so it's like, you know, that's the complexity that you kind of have to think about, and why this doesn't get fixed instantly. So that's kind of what's going on here, and why it might seem simple to do. That would be probably why I would say that they limit the speed at which gas comes in here. So, for example, let me reboot this. So it wouldn't surprise me if this is why they limit the fluid ports to 10 liters per second, because like right in here, let's see if I can see it. So we're pushing in a ton, so that's 1,800 liters per second of air. I bet this is based off pressure, because the air is going to you're going to be able to push more liters of air through per second at a lower pressure than water. So if you push the same amount of water through, the pressure would be much, much higher because the molecules are closer together. And so, you know, likely that's probably why they put limits on these fluid ports, is you would instantly die in game. It would go up to 20 atmospheres, you'd be crushed and killed and dead. And then people would complain, you know, you know, I open the hatches to sink my ship and I instantly die. Boo, right? So, you know, that's a problem. They have to come up with a solution to it. And I can't think of any easy solutions. You know, we've just been talking about it. Increase water flow rate through door. Okay, you would almost instantly crush the player character with air pressure and you'd die. Okay, that's not going to work. Okay, equally increase air pressure and water pressure. Okay, now the player character doesn't get necessarily crushed or necessarily killed by the air pressure, but the delta P as the air is being blown out of the room up through the top hatches is going to cause the player character to get pushed out of the ship. Okay, so now you no longer can do damage repair, you no longer can move around your ship, you no longer can rescue your ship, because once it starts to flood, it will always flood and sink, and there's nothing you can do about it. That sucks. And so that doesn't work. So they have to come up with a system where water can come in, air can go out, and the player character doesn't get blown out unless it's a really ridiculous case, you know. And so that's problematic, you know. It really is, you know. And so I don't know the solution to it, you know. So that's kind of why I think we have some of these issues going on right now. Is it's complicated. It really is. And you know, I think people just need to think that, you know, I tend to err on the side of it's probably more complicated than I think it is, you know, than saying, oh, this is an easy fix. They should be able to fix it in a weekly update. No, I understand why they don't have this fixed yet. Is I can't think of any solutions to it right off the top of my head, you know. This thing is still, every time I go on the workbench, this pauses this sinking, so that's why it's still taking a while to sink, is the whole time I was on the workbench, this was paused. So we're up to 90,000 liters of water in here. Air is blowing out. So like if you look at the atmospheres there, we're pushing out air at 1 atmosphere. Again, remember, 4 atmospheres, we die. So they theoretically, could they speed this up 4 times? Sure. If they sped this up 4 times, are we going to die? Maybe, you know. And so that's a problem, you know. So these are kind of the issues that the game has to deal with. You know, it's just they're complicated. You know, and despite, you know, my best efforts to try to think of an easy solution, I can't think of an easy solution. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Rasmus. Or Tripper, I'm sorry. I don't know why. Let me see. I'll have to see Rasmus's icon. I looked at the icon first, and I thought it was Rasmus's icon. Thanks, Trip. Sorry, CG, I'm not ignoring your comment. I just glommed on one another. Yeah, thanks, Tripper. I took care of that earlier. He was in here, too. Let's see. I'm just trying to catch up on CG's comments. I saw Owls really quickly and glommed on that. When running YouTube on my second monitor, I need to run at 1080p to get the actual video on. Oh, interesting, yeah. Yeah, like, you know, like Owl's comment here about problems getting in or out. I was having issues with my submarine where if the pressure was, if you had too much pressure, pressure differential, delta P change in pressure, pressure differential. So if the pressure was too high in the, what do you call it, in the airlock, you couldn't get back in the ship. And it doesn't have to be a lot. Like, you know, human beings are not that strong. Imagine trying to swim against a very minor current. And so you have a current of water coming out of an airlock, and now you're trying to swim against the current into the airlock. It really doesn't take that much to make it so that you can't get back in. And so it's tough, you know. And so, like, let's set up a quick little test here. Here, let's go. Let's keep running with this test here. So, like, let's see if it still happens. So let's So let's spawn this again. Let's take off player damage. Let's pressurize the room in here. Okay, we'll pressurize the room. So now the room is already about to be deadly. Alright, so the room's already deadly. Now, if you remember, when this first came out, we could pressurize things to, what was it, 150, 200 atmospheres, something like that. Really high pressures. You know, so the change in rate, like we used to be able to pump very, very fast. Well, again, the problem is you would instantly kill somebody in the room. And that's part of the problem is, and I think what they're trying to, you know, what they're trying to avoid, and in trying to avoid that, they're causing other problems. So I'm going to let this this fill up here. So like you notice, I could increase the rate at which this room fills if I wanted to by putting more fluid ports. So I could put 10 fluid ports, and theoretically it wouldn't always be 10 times, but you know, theoretically I'd get close to 10 times the fill rate of air. I think they did this to try to make it so that the change in pressure, the delta P, was not so much. Because again, a lot of people, they don't know about delta P, they don't know much about physics, and they're trying to then build something, and they think it's something just like doesn't work with the game, or they get frustrated, or it's beyond their level of comprehension, and they don't want to spend 2 hours learning about it, and then it becomes very frustrating. So as much as this seems like the devs are just doing stupid stuff, they're trying to solve certain problems, and you know, it's just the results aren't perfect right now, and hopefully they get it balanced. But like I said, I've been thinking about it here for however long we've been talking, plus for a while, and I haven't come up with any easy solutions. Like increase fluid port rates. Okay, well, you're gonna have delta P problems. Okay, you know, you have these unintended consequences that you have to think about. All right, so let's see where we're up to here. So we have 7 atmospheres in here, okay? So let's stand on this hatch and see what happens. Hey, look at that. I get blown out of the room. All right, can I go in? Nope. I get blown out of the room. So that's 7 atmospheres causing me to float. I can't get in that room. So now this is my ship, and I want to go repair it. I can't get in that room. Can't get in that room, okay? Can't do it. I float over it. All right, and so this is what this is part of the problem they're trying to fix. Now this is 7 atmospheres. So as you see, I just gently, yay, it doesn't hurt, yay. If it was 150 atmospheres, I would hit the ceiling and die. You know, and so that's part of the problem here is they have to balance this out. Let's see what happens if I'm in the room. All right, so now the pressure's dropped down, and we can get in the room. All right. So these are the problems they're having to deal with, and so I have a little bit of sympathy for them on why, you know, on these things because of it, you know. They're tough. They're tough problems to solve, you know, and you have part of this community who does not care about engineering or physics or anything like that, and you have part of us that's the whole reason we play, and so they can't take away the simplicity for those people who just want to, like, screw around and have a good time, and they can't take away the complexity for those of us who want to engineer around and have a good time, you know. So it's tough. It's really tough to balance a game to make everybody happy. It really is. All right. All right, thanks for the message on this. I'll take care of this profile here. I gotta do something on Discord, guys. Just give me a second. I'm just letting this room fill anyway. Yeah, just give me a second. I gotta deal with this. Discord can make it very aggravating to try to operate this stuff. God, why is this? Oh my God, they're making Discord's making it harder and harder to get anything done. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to deal with this Discord problem. Thanks, Tripper. I finally got a chance to deal with it. Alright, so let's look at the barometer here while I'm screwing around. So we're up to 11 atmospheres. I'm also pumping air in from outside, so yeah. At this point, we would be dead in here. I'm just trying to get this pumped up so we can see how much it would push us up, because we used to be able to pump these rooms up to 200 atmospheres, and so it would make it so that like you'd blow yourself into the ceiling, and so that's not feasible either. Authorization code. There we go. Sorry guys, I'm just dealing with this. Discord adds a layer of security, and it just adds a layer of a layer of time too. What the fuck was that? Sorry guys, I'm trying to deal with something here. What the hell? That just scared the hell out of me. I was trying to, somebody's misbehaving, and I was trying to give them the boot, and it just said mass ban approved. I'm like, what? And it was one person, and it came up as mass ban. I was like, what? So that was a little bit frightening. Oh, Discord, you make it so aggravating to try to do anything. Ugh, Discord's quite obnoxious. Sorry, guys, I'm just still trying to screw around with this. I'm trying to make sure I didn't screw anything up. If somebody in chat would just check, make sure they didn't get mass banned from Discord. It still looks good, but it's like, what the frig, man? Why does it do it that way? That's so silly. I don't know, it's very silly the way it's working. I'm just trying to finish this up too. Like, this person sent somebody a message too. Alright. Hopefully that issue is done. Oh. Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah, Discord, like, you know, I was just trying to get rid of this one issue, and it wanted me to, it needed to send an authenticator to my phone, and then I was like, why is it sending an authenticator? I've never had to do this before. And then it said mass ban complete. I'm like, oh my god, if it just banned everybody in the Discord, it's an absolute pain in the ass. And it didn't, so I just... It's just Discord like adding layers of aggravation. All right, so we're up to 15 atmospheres here. I'm not gonna go to 60, but so here, stand on the door and we'll see what happens. So you see, we went higher than we were before. All right, so this is again part of the issue that they have to deal with is, do they completely remove that mechanic of air blowing out? Okay, it's not like a light switch either, so it's probably not like, okay, well, let's just shut off the light switch that says air affects player characters. It probably affects a bunch of stuff, you know. So it's complicated, man. It really is, you know, and so it's tough. It really is, and so that's, you know, it's funny, you know, if you ever say anything that's not negative, even if it's not glowing, you know, people accuse you of being a shill. But it's like a lot of people, they don't consider like how challenging some of these problems are to fix. Hey, look at that. So this is on the bottom now. So again, most of the time when people are saying you can't sink ships, what they mean to say, but they don't articulate it properly, is you can't blow it up with a torpedo and have the ship sink. As you can see, there's still air in here, right? The basics of buoyancy still work. Eventually, the mass of the ship is going to overcome the displacement of the ship, and it's going to sink. Period. That's going to happen. All right. It happens. The problem is you need to get enough frickin' water in here, man, to do it. And so let's do this. So I don't know exactly what the correct rate is. So, you know, like all right, let's close the doors. That way we can stop the rate. So we have 192,000 liters of water in here. We're still blowing air out because it's going through the vents. And we have 88,000 liters of air still in there. You know, so the water is still, so as you can see, that eventually all this air will come out, and it will, you know, it'll be completely full of water. But you notice we can sink ships, so it's like there was somebody on last week's announcement said, you know, you can't sink ships, and I wrote, you can sink ships, and literally put a picture of this ship on the bottom, and they go, I meant when you know, when you use weapons. Okay, well, you didn't say that, man. You got to say it, because people are literally spending hours of their own time testing these things, trying to come up with solutions, you know, and the hyperbole really just doesn't help. And it's the same thing I noticed with the bug tracker. Well, that's okay, Tripper. It's because Steam doesn't work. Yeah, so it's like, you know, let's look at the bug tracker real quick. I'm not gonna stay on the rant for too long, but it's like, it's why I kind of caution people to be like too friggin' up in arms about some of the stuff. Is it's like you gotta kind of understand that there's a lot to this, and for every gameplay element they add, they could step on somebody else's gameplay. There are a bunch of people in this last weekly update who are happy that the friggin' fire extinguishers that cause you to fly are gone. Me, and you know, very much me. I did not like the fire extinguisher made you fly because I actually play the career game, as you can see, and because of it, it made it very hard to put out fires. Because every time you jump a little bit, or if you're not standing specifically where you're supposed to be, the fire extinguisher would blow you off the ship, and then you'd have to swim back up. You get burned again by the fire, which you should happen. They made it so you can't get as close to the fire without a fire suit, which makes it so you have to wear a fire suit now if you actually want to fight fires without getting hurt. And so I'm glad they got rid of it. It's unrealistic, it's silly, but there were some people who enjoyed screwing around and flying around with a fire extinguisher. So by making the game better for me, they made it worse for somebody else, you know, and so that's tough. All right, so like, you know, this is the type of thing that, you know, you'll get these, let's see. Liquid meter doesn't work. Let's see. Like, you'll get a bunch of these that are just very simple things that they don't explain their issue, and so it's like, you know, it's the same thing. I can only imagine how frustrating it is as a dev to try to come in here and be like, oh, we'd love to fix it, but, like, you gave us no information. And it happened to me on Reddit today. I was trying to help somebody fix their build, and finally I'm like, if you know, I'd love to keep helping you, but, you know, I'm going to need a workshop link, because you eventually get to the point where you keep throwing out ideas, and they, nope, it's not that, nope, it's not that, nope, it's not that, where it's like, okay, I'm going to spend 20 minutes trying to help you here. If you just put a workshop link, it'll take me 5 minutes. I'll find it, and I'll fix it, you know. And so that can be frustrating. You can imagine, like, that's... Okay, so this person's complaining about rates. Again, you know, we just did the tests here. Likely the reason why the rates got slowed down was because you would kill yourself. You know, they reduce the rates so you don't kill yourself right away. You know, so do they increase the number of atmospheres till you get hurt? That's a potential thing. Do they decrease the amount that the air will influence your player character flying? Maybe. You know, but they have to come up with a balance that works for most people, and that's tough. You know, but you get a bunch of these where it's just like not very specific. Like I'm struggling to even find. Like I can't even find any of these that are really all that bad, but there have been some that are like fixed multiplayer. We see that every week. Usually, if you take the effort to come to the bug tracker, usually it's not fixed multiplayer. If we look at like here, you'll get the weekly things. It's like you got to be specific if you actually want your issue to be fixed. Let me see if we can find some here. Steam engines still don't work like they used to. Devs, fix your game. Okay, that's not helpful at all. And I actually respond to that one. They work differently now. Adapt to the new way. You know, Steam engines do work. They work in a new way, and they should work in a new way because we had a whole pressure major update. It changed. You got to learn the new. You got to learn the new mechanics. I put out tutorials as fast as possible for that very reason, so that people could enjoy the game and play. You know. Let's see. Still not fixed the flooding. Okay. Again, we just went through it for like, what, an hour here, talking about how complex it is and why flooding is still probably not fixed. You know, this person probably did not go do their own testing. If they did their own testing, they might figure some of these things out and be like, oh, yeah, that's probably why. You know. Let's see. Can we fix the doors next? They really should let water in. Doors do let water in. We can test that. Why is that? Oh, because it's below the spawn line is why. Okay. So let's see. I want to disconnect some stuff. So we'll go ahead and we'll disconnect. Pump. I just want doors here. That door, what is this? That will go, okay. So doors do let water in. Yes. All right, so the reason those needles are moving is because this is, no, that's not passing. Where is it coming in? Let me see what's up, why we have water coming in here. It's coming in somewhere. Oh, it's here. Okay. I forget I have to delete these. I have to delete those. Okay, now we should be good. So, like, I built this rig to test, and this is, like, why I've come to some of these conclusions. We have no water in here. We have a ton of air in here. Open it up. Oh, my God. Doors do not let water in. Where the hell's the water coming from, then? How do we have 5,000 liters of water in my ship if the doors don't let water in? The doors absolutely 100% let water in. There's one door here. And it is letting in water. There it is. 11,000 liters of water in my ship now because the doors let water in. No pumps going. Water's coming in. Let's check the pressure in here. Where's the... Do I have a barometer? Oh, it's right here. Barometer. I put it here so I can read it up, down. You can see, does it make sense? Does it make sense to us that as water comes in and compresses the air that the pressure goes up? Yep. We have 22,000 liters of water in here, but doors do not let water in. So, like, this is why I get frustrated with these sometimes, is they do let water in. Is it as fast as you'd like? No. Why do we think it's not fast? Because it would cause too much air pressure. It would kill your character. It would blow your character out of the room. Yep, it's slow. But, you know, people act like the devs are just brainless. No, I don't think that's the case. I think the case is that it's a balancing problem. You can see we have 29,000 liters of water in here, It's just you don't visually see it. Like, we start to visually see it there, but again, look. The water is coming in. The problem is that person probably doesn't understand that you need to let air out. So let's do that test. Let's go here. You know, so let's go ahead and we'll disconnect that. I'm not making fun of these people. I'm just like, I think it's wrong to assume that things are as easy of a solution as some people make it out to be. Okay, no water, tons of air. All right. Now, we're going to have issues here. We have no air coming out through here. No air. Why is it coming out through there? Should not. Oh, you know what it is? It's the air pressure out here. It's just passive from outside. You notice it's the air pressure in the pipe. So right here. It spawns with air pressure in this gas relief valve. That just vented out. That's why we had it. So that's gone. So it's the air that's stuck in here. So that's gone. All right, so only this hatch is open. So all air and water transfer are going through that hatch right there. So even without proper air venting, we are still letting air out of that bottom hatch. As you can see, we have 20,000 liters of water in my ship right now. Why does the meter say freshwater? It should say seawater. I don't know why it does that. It's there's something going on with that where I think what it does is a lot of games use rabbit holes. So this used to happen in The Sims. Like you would, when your character went to work, they went into a closet, despawned, and then they're quote unquote at work, and then they respawn and they're on their way home. And so a lot of the stuff is when it goes into a container, it essentially like disappears and then reappears. And I'm curious if it's reappearing wrong, and that's why it's fresh water. So that wouldn't surprise me if that's why it's doing that. Is it disappears, like the actual seawater, like, so I'll make my point like this. The actual water out here, I doubt is actually physically going in here. I think what is physically happening is it is reading a number. It's saying, okay, water come in at X rate. And it's just an error where it is putting in, the water that's coming in is just numbers. Like this water physically doesn't come in. It spawns in here, and it is spawning as fresh water. So that is what I think is happening. But, you know, what do I know? But you could say, look, no pumps, nothing. All I have going here, like these are disconnected. All I have is this one door, and it is letting both air and water out. Water in, air out. And you notice we're pretty stable on the pressure. Pressure is pretty much staying stable. You know, we're below the threshold. Like this looks like it's pretty hospitable, right? If we had 3 more atmospheres, we would die. You know, so that's why it can't be 3 times. It can be 3 times as fast. It can't be 4 times as fast, or else we're gonna die. So the one thing the devs could do is pressurize to say. Change the rate so it would pressurize to 2 atmospheres, maybe. You know, so right there, we're getting water in. All right, so, okay, let's do the next logical thing. Let's go. So, sometimes this testing is fun just to kind of, like, see what's actually going on. And that's why I do it, is, you know, so I have a better understanding of how things are working. Because if you're going to come up engineer a solution or something, you kind of have to understand how it works in the first place. All right, so here are we're going to add doors. Okay, so what do we expect? If we add doors, should we increase flow rate? My guess would be yes. Let's test it. All right, so we have a bunch of... Fuck you. I thought I copied it. I cut it. Frustration. All right, good. There we go. All right, so we expect a 0 and a 0. We expect this to be just pissing off the excess air that was in the pipe. That's gone. Good. Okay. All right, so we should be able to open up all those doors. And it looks to me like we are going faster, but I can't verify it because I don't have some sort of rate on there. But likely the water is coming in. And so why do we think they did this? Before, like, you know, it'd fill faster. Well, the other thing is there is moon pools. Is your moon pool would have to be perfect, or not perfect. Your moon pool would have to be very responsive to increase the pressure inside the room to make sure that your moon pool didn't flood. Now, you don't have to be as accurate, and so that's again, it's a balancing thing. You have new players who don't know much about physics, who don't know much about how to change air pressure to keep water at bay, and so the issue then becomes you want to make the game approachable to them. So you say, okay, well, let's decrease the rate at which water comes through doors so that people can have their moon pools and they can go diving and they can come back up in their ship, and that the pressure is not so friggin' high in here that, guess what, if the air pressure was too high in here, I would go down and I would never be able to come up. It would keep me here and I would never be able to come back in my ship because the air pressure would push me out. And so that's another thing you have to worry about too. So, you know, there's a lot to it. There really is. Like, there we're at 33,000 liters there. So what did we say? Last time it was 182. We found it on the bottom. So actually, you guys might be able to help me with this. I don't play with the timers much. So what I want to do is this. I know, I'll read some chat too. But let's see. Yeah. Yeah, like Tripper's talking about got blown around so many times. Let me see if I can find that video. I'm very ADHD today, so let me see if I can find what a difference a day makes. All right, here's what a difference a day makes. So this came out, I put this video out the day after the major... See, this is the other thing that's kind of been bugging me lately, is people will conflate. They'll say, the Space DLC broke the game. The Space DLC made very few changes. The only things the Space DLC changed was it added the moon, it added the parts, it added the wraparound world, and it added it changed the way that subgrids work. That's literally all that happened with the Space DLC. But what happened was the same time the Space DLC came out, the same day, the major update came out, which was pressurization. And it was because it makes sense that pressurization would go with space, because you go up into space, which is a vacuum. You have a compartment which is pressurized, so you need pressurized air, you know, or else you'd be on the moon and breathe in oxygen, you know. And so it made sense the two came together. Pressurization caused most of the problems because it was a huge revamp in the way the game works. How's it going there, Anton? Good to see you. How's it going, Amanda? Hi, how are you? Exactly, like, you know, Tripper's talking about on the point of flooding, a ship is supposed to stay above the water. Why build a ship with the purpose of sinking? Yep, exactly. That's what a ship is supposed to be about. Now, I think it's valid gameplay for the people who like to do sinking ship survival, like one of the biggest YouTubers, or a couple of YouTubers. That's their favorite content. Now, I don't poo-poo on other people's playstyles. I think it's fine. They like that. But it doesn't mean that the game should completely changed to cater to that. It's like, you know, a bunch of people keep saying, oh, this is our game, this is our... No, it isn't. This is the devs' game. They built this game. They spent their time building it. They built the code for the game. It's their game. Now, we as customers, we can voice our disapproval. We can not buy it. We can not buy the next one. We can not buy a DLC if we want. But it's not our game. You know, it's like if you go to the a coffee place and you order a coffee, you own that coffee that's in your hand. You do not get to choose if they change the recipe in the future. You bought that cup of coffee, you got to play with that cup of coffee, drink it, and then they change the recipe the next day, and guess what? You don't like their coffee anymore. That's fine. It sucks, but it's fine. You know, and so that's one thing I think, you know, along those lines is, personally for me and for Tripper, obviously, I have never sunk a ship unless... You know, I don't think I've ever sunk a ship accidentally. I don't bang into shit. I very rarely crash. Very, very rare that and I don't think I've ever sunk a ship. Maybe like my early ships that were unstable and they rolled over in heavy seas and they didn't roll back over, but I don't think they sunk. But some people like that, and I think it's a legitimate gameplay to do some cool like missions where you open up. The ship starts flooding, and maybe you say, oh, you know, with your friends, let's go down. We gotta close the watertight doors, and you have torque cranks. That is fun gameplay. That's fine. But
again, it's not the main thing of the game. A lot of people are acting like that was the purpose of the game. And the devs get to decide what the purpose of the game is. It is still their game at the end of the day. It's one thing I talk about this all the time with Escape from Tarkov is Nikita will tell people, he'll say, nope, it's my game. That's not what we're doing. Nikita will be very bold and say that, and I love that about him because, like, you had some players who like a faster, more Call of Duty type of gameplay, and he's like, nope, that's not what this game is about. And that happened when they did Inertia. Like, if you wore big, heavy armor and you had a big, heavy gun and you had like 300 rounds of ammo, you're super heavy. And so when you go to move around a corner, you keep going. And it acts like you're a big train. It takes you time to slow down because you're heavy. Now, if you have just a pistol, you're going to be fast like a little rabbit running around and zipping, zapping, and you're super fast. And so a bunch of the, more Call of Duty minded players were crying that, oh, this sucks now, there's no fun, and Nikita's like, too bad, stop playing. And I like that about him because he's like, I don't care. He's like, this is my game, I'm going to build it the way I want, and if you want to play, great. If you don't, great. And I think that's a great attitude because, if you listen to every friggin' person, you're never going to make anyone happy. You have to, like, focus a little bit. So anyways, this was What a Difference a Day Makes. This was literally Triton the day that they released the Space DLC and Pressurization Update. This was caused because of the Pressurization Major Update. As you notice, Triton is in the bottom of the ocean. You look at this air coming out of the top here. That was because the air was blowing out of there at such a rate, it was making a terrible noise. People kept complaining about the noise. If we go back to weekly updates, you can read the comments from people. They're like, fix the noise. The noise is terrible. And that's what it was. Is the air was rushing out at such a high rate. And it would, like, literally, if you jumped over this, it would blow you up in the sky like that. And so they made some changes to make that more reasonable. This was the next day. So it was like when people were like, the sky is falling and literally giving the devs death threats, this was a day later. That's what it looked like. Less than 24 hours. I'm trying to see if I can find... I don't think I had many practical... What is this doing now? Trying to find... trying to see if I had some things where I was testing... Oh, there's my segue. Like, this is frankly like what... in an engineering game, this is probably what you should do in the first day of a big patch, is test. And that's what I was doing. Came around here, tested, played with some stuff. A lot of people think they can jump in with both feet. There are games you can do that. But this game is like, it's an engineering game. You have to actually go and test and try things out and see how things work. And so like here I am for hours and hours testing. And if you don't like to do that, it's fine. All you have to do is, you wait for other people to do it. But that's, that's when it's complicated, it takes a lot of work to understand it, All right, Citra's going to go eat. Yeah, on the Great Lakes, exactly, yeah. Yeah, I don't really worry about other people's, like, subscriber content and that. At the end of the day, this isn't my job. I don't do it for the money. It's, and so I'm gonna make what I want to make, and it's like, if I like, I used to get messages all the time like, oh man, if you did some like single ship survival, or if you made your videos shorter, you get more views. I'm like, I don't care. It's like I'm gonna make. I take that Nikita approach is, I'm gonna make what I'm gonna make, and the people who enjoy it can come, and the people who don't enjoy it, they don't have to come. I don't hold anybody's hand and force them to come. I don't drag anybody in here. I'm trying to find. Trying to see where it was where I was getting blown around here. If any of you guys see or remember when I was getting blown around, it was like... This is me testing out, see if we could do a scrubber. Might not be What a Difference a Day Makes. Let me see if I can find it. But like, I was testing out RCS. Like, I love that testing part of it where you go around and you actually see what's going on and what needs to be worked on and done, But, like, you used to, anytime you opened a door, literally, anytime you opened a door, it would blow you out of there if the pressure differential was more than, like, half an atmosphere. And it was frustrating. It was a pain in the ass, And so that was, you know, again, it's easy to forget about how it's easy to forget the improvements that have been made. There have been a lot of improvements made, and it's easy to forget those. You know. Let's see if I can find it. I took a little bit of a break too from. You know, I took that break waiting for the bug testing, which was, I think, the right move. Is like a lot of people just kept banging their head against the wall instead of taking a break. And it was like they would have done better if they took a break than to just keep banging their head against the wall. Like, here's a video. This was a couple days, maybe a week. I'm trying to see the date. I can't find the date here. What the hell? October 17th. So what was that, 5 days after? Here's pressure testing. So just a bunch of pressure testing. And things were very different. Like, we used to be able to pressurize to 200 atmospheres. You know, there's just a lot of differences with the way things work here. You know, like we used to have issues with spraying, so this was a test to see what was the best system to get, you know, to be able to spray water for fire hoses. Yeah, so I'm trying to see if I can find a clip of me getting blown out of one of the hatches, but I know some of the sub videos I was having issues, and that was because the water pressurization was blowing me out. But you guys see the point was like the air was blowing us out of the hatches, and so they had to do something about it, you know. You know, it's tough too. The algorithm pushes, you know, it's very much a commercial product, and you know that's how it has to be because they need, you know, their business, and you know, so very much for the for something like YouTube is they're trying to, you know, they want you to click on the video and see as many ads as possible. That's very basic how they make their money. You know, you click on video, you see as many ads as possible. And so if you watch a 20-second short and well, shorts don't do much ads, but let's say you watch a 2-minute video. Hey, this is Bob, and I'm going to teach you how to build a helicopter in stormworks in 2 minutes. Blah, 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 blah. See you guys. Like and subscribe. Right, so that's a 2-minute tutorial video, right? Maybe they put one ad in there. So you spent 2 minutes. So you'll probably watch 100% of the 2 minutes, which means you'll probably watch the ad. And so those videos get pushed up because some of those shorter videos, because you'll watch an ad. You'll watch a 2-minute video. The videos that people stay the longest, they will keep in the feed longer. So like, let's see. I'm trying to find it. So like, if we look at my shorts, especially shorts, you know, are kind of new. But like, if you look at the shorts, like, you'll see a short. This one has 2,500 views. This one has 187. All right. And so for whatever reason, usually the main analytic they're going after here is, do people click away? Because that means they're going to miss the ad. And so if you look here, you see average percent viewed 55.9%. Let's find a banger here. So this one's a little bit better here. Let's see what this one is. Average viewed is 73.4%. So likely this one got more views because it's because people were watching longer. Likely they were seeing ads on the side of the screen or even a mid ad, and because they were watching for longer, it kept it in the feed longer and it got more views. So if you get a video that doesn't stay in the feed very long, I'm trying to find a good banger here. Like this one. This one has 10,000 here. This one, 106% viewed. So people watch this video more than once. And so because they watch this video for more than once, look at the views. Because likely people were seeing ads, and because people were seeing ads, YouTube kept it in the shorts feed longer, and so it caused people to watch it longer. You know, and so that's kind of why some of that stuff happens. So, you know, if you make a video that's kind of like low, let's say wide appeal, so more people will watch it. Like, how many young kids are going to want to listen to me talk about physics? Probably very few. And so because of that, you know, the views are going to be lower. So it's, you know, you need to have a certain group of people who want to watch that stuff, frankly, and that's kind of where it comes in. So it doesn't bother me. You know, I don't need as many views as these other people. It's not going to be my job. All right, let's see if we. So I might need you guys' help with this one. I don't work timers very often. So this is what I want to do here. Let's see. We'll do 2. We'll do logic. I don't know if it's possible. So this is what I want to do. All right, so let's update this real quick. So what I want to do is I want to put an altimeter on this ship, and this is just for testing purposes. And I want to take the altimeter, and I want to read its value. And then I want to go out, and I'll just read to, it doesn't matter, a dial's fine. I want to read to a dial. Oh, symmetry, you demon. And I want to read out to a dial. And so what I want to do is when the altimeter goes below 0, I should probably label these here, huh? Okay. So when the altimeter is less than 0, now I might not be able to do a countdown timer. This is the problem. I could do a tick-based countdown timer, but so essentially when the altimeter is less than 0, I want to trigger it so that I know how many minutes it took to sink. So this is the whole thing is every time I go on the workbench, that ship that I have sinking pauses, right? The whole world goes on pause when I'm in the workbench. And so what I want to do is be able to go AFK, and then I want to be able to know the instant that the ship went underwater. So that I know that it took me 10 minutes to sink the ship with this setup. It took me 20 minutes to sink the ship with this setup, 5 minutes with this setup. That's what I'm looking to do. So theoretically, one thing we could do is, like, I could do this. Let's see, timer. Let's look at all the timers. I get confused with the timers, so let's just pile them all up here. I'm not great. I don't use these much, so I don't really deal with them all that often. We'll go through each one. I'll look at them first, then I'll read their blurbs. So here's a regular timer. So we enable the timer. This is the duration, and it puts an off signal when it is off here. So this is timer enable. This is timer duration. That's on and off. Okay, this is RTO. That's timer enable, reset, and duration. Okay, this is timer enable. So this looks like on-offs. Okay, so let's read the blurbs. All right, so outputs an on signal when the timer reaches its duration. It will reset when it's off. So that's not what we want. All right, so this one is when it reaches its duration. This is when it's less than its duration. All right, this one is outputs an on signal when the timer reaches duration. The timer will not reset until signaled. Okay, so I might be able to do it with this one. Outputs an on signal when the timer is less than its duration. Okay, so probably this one here. So let's try a RTO. So I'll show you guys what I want to do and then try to work through the logic. So essentially this is what I want to do is when... Okay, I can do it this way. So let's go ahead. We'll take a property number. Let's see. This should be in seconds. So let's see. What's... Should be 3,600, right? 60 times 60. 3,600. Yep, 3,600. We'll do 3,600 seconds. All right, so that's an hour. And so let's see. If the altimeter is... Let's see. Okay, so this is the problem. Is I don't think I can do it like this. I bet you Basilicious could probably whip something up in Lua. But what I want to do is essentially when the ship goes underwater, I want it to tell me how many minutes it took. So when I open the doors, I want the timer to start, and I want it to count down. But I don't think I could do that with this. Like, I could make it so that the timer only happens when it's underwater. And then, so I could take the time from the beginning, but I'm trying to have this do it all itself. Let me see. I don't know. Yeah, this one's kind of tough to figure out for me. Let's see if there's anything about Lua. Lua stopwatch. Lua stopwatch. Oh my god, I'm in Lua. Isn't this gross? Alright, how would I make a stopwatch in Lua? Where's Basilicious when you need him? I don't want to ping him either. Alright, here's a basic stopwatch. It starts/resets when the user taps the screen. Example, elapsed minutes and seconds. If you want to count milliseconds... Alright, let's just read it real quick here. So essentially what I wanted to do is I would start the timer and then the stopwatch. The stopwatch would stop when it goes below water. But I could do this with an up-down counter. Let's try this. So let's go maximum 3,600 seconds. Increment is 1. Okay. Okay, let's do and not X-ray. Let's do not X-ray to start and okay, so let's do this. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually run an up-down counter with a pulse. See how accurate this is. I don't need to be ultra accurate, but let's see. I bet you Lua is the answer, but I don't want to deal with Lua. Okay. So we'll go regular timer, I think. Outputs an on signal and timer registers. Okay, this is probably what I want to do here. I'll make a stopwatch here. So that will go like that. This will be a rate of 1 second. Okay, this will pulse. This will go to the counter here. That will go down. All right, so this will be an increment of 1 second. Reset value, enable clamp, disenabled. Reset value 3,600. All right, so essentially what will happen here is when the altimeter is less than this end, where the hell did that just go? Where is it? What happened there? Oh, I didn't add it yet. Oh. Toggle, okay. All right, so when the altimeter is less than 0, so when we're underwater and the toggle is, okay, so when it's not underwater and the toggle is on, start counting down. As soon as it goes underwater, it will stop this countdown, and that will, that should give us a readout. Let's try this. It's messy, but we'll try it. Let's see. Stopwatch. All right, let's quickly take a toggle. Okay. All right, let's grab... Oh, piss off you. I didn't mean to spawn that. Now it's going to be under the friggin' map. Ah, it's down there. All right, let's go ahead and grab this. Again, this won't sink while I'm above water here, so let's try this. But I would say, would you guys agree that it's definitive that a door, you know, I don't know, it's not definitive yet. We haven't sunk it, but the water's coming in. The air's going out. Likely it's going to work. The comment that the person made, the hyperbole, I would say, where they're like, you know, you can't, you know, water doesn't come indoors, I would say is pretty much proven false. All right, so here we have an altimeter. We have a dial. This should hopefully count down when I start it. Let's check it. All right, so when that goes underwater, so this should start counting down. Okay, so that's not, it did it once. Okay, that's not working then. Interesting. Let's see. It says, outputs an on signal when the timer reaches duration. The timer will reset when off. Okay, so that's why. Maybe I need a pulse here. I'll pulse this too. The pulses are going to add variability in it, but I think we'll be all right. Try that. It counts down 1 and then it doesn't reset. So, oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. Let's press this one. Bastard. Okay, that's not going to work. All right, I need a different timer. Let's see. Barrel input timer. Outputs an on signal when the timer reaches duration. The timer will not reset until it is signaled. Okay, let's try this RTO. All right, timer enable. And then this will reset itself there. Let's try that. Because I want it to tick. So, yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I want a ballpark of where, how long these are taking to sync. There we go. All right, so see, this is now a stopwatch. Looks pretty good too. It's not going to be exactly because there's a little bit of delay, but it's pretty good because it's still, yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, good. So what we'll do here is, see, I could make it an up counter too, but we'll just down count it from an hour. All right, let's quickly do this. Let's grab a keypad. We'll test the shut-off function here, and then we should be good. So this timer will work. So now I can literally just like sit this in the world. I think the timer will stop when I'm in the workbench. And so what we can do here is we can put in an altimeter of 1. Okay, we'll start it. All right, so now the ship is filling with water. The ship is filling with water. And now the ship sinks. So we go -1. Perfect. So this stopwatch works. So that works. That was easier than I thought it was going to be. Thought we could just do it with a, like there'd be a stopwatch block, but that actually wasn't hard to build a stopwatch. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll get rid of that. So this will now, we can run this, and let's do a test. So let's get this going. All right, so we're counting down from an hour, and then what we'll do is this. Let's jump in the workbench. So I kind of need to know what the, so let's pause it real quick. I think the same effect works. So 84, it pauses it there. I think it pauses in the workbench, so let's see. I'll sit in the workbench for like, I don't know, 20 seconds. And then, oh, you fucker. I forgot that would call it up. Let's do sync test 2. Okay. I forgot that would pull it up. That sucks. All right, yeah, when I go to the workbench, it should pause. This way we can kind of like go do other stuff, and it's not going to screw up my numbers. All right, let's say, so as long as we're not like, we'll sit in here for a little bit and see what happens. Oh, what did you eat there, Citrus? Oh, you're welcome there, Express. Glad it's found it helpful. Yep. Yeah, I'm currently Expressed. I am working on. I'm going to be upgrading all that stuff to automate it more. That was just kind of a basic how the furnaces work. Um, for oil drilling, part 3. So it's been kind of taking me a while to get to part 3. So what I'm doing now in the career build series is I just put in the oil platform literally 3 days ago. The the new one from the tutorial. And so what I'm going to be doing is as I improve it, I'm going to be putting out new videos explaining like how to automate it, and then they'll be on the workshop too, so you can go ahead and do that as well if I find that helpful. But glad you found it helpful, Expressed. All right, so we've been in here for like 30 seconds, so let's quickly go. It was like at 96. Probably took me 6 seconds to get over. So as long as it's like not down to like, you know, a minute later, we know that it's pausing when we're in the workbench. So I think everything pauses when we're in the workbench. Yeah, it pauses when we're in the workbench. So this is perfect. This timer will pause when we go in the workbench, and that will that way I can let this just flood. But again, that statement that person made, the doors do not allow water in. I think we definitively say that is nonsense. You know, the air is going out of the door, the water is going in. Now, the issue where a lot of people are conflating this, and conflation, again, for if you don't know what conflation means, you're essentially, it's almost like you're equalizing two things. So, for example, the way I'm using conflation is people say, the space update broke X. It didn't really. The pressure update broke X. And so they're conflating the two of them, and that's problematic because people will be like, I didn't buy the DLC. I shouldn't have to deal with this. Well, it wasn't the DLC that caused your problem, you know. So let's do a test here real quick. So let's go ahead and we will do what the hell is it called? Warhead? I forget. All right, here's a medium warhead, okay? This is a problem. I absolutely acknowledge this is an issue. But I think today we've kind of definitively shown, you know, why these things are not like 2-second fixes. You know, that's the issue. Okay, so let's grab this one here. And we'll blow this up. So as long as these are set to 0, they'll pretty much blow up instantly. This might be too much. If you blow up too much, the vehicle will just disappear. People complained about this, but the reason is simple, is if you've ever had one of your builds and you hit something and then it makes a terrible noise or it starts flipping around because the pivots don't work anymore and you have two blocks that glitched into each other and now you're getting phantom physics, that's why they made things disappear. Is if you damage a ship too much, blocks are going to start to interfere with one another. It's going to spaz out, cause unintended physics problems. And then the game's not going to work. And so they made it so that when you do enough damage, it just evaporates. And they did that for good reason. All right, so no water, plenty of air in there. Boom. Water comes in. This is a problem. I absolutely agree. This is a problem. Not enough water comes in. All right, you notice it's going in and out, in and out. We're not getting a lot of water. If we open the hatches on this, we would get more water. So like, notice it's going up and down. We only have 1,300 liters of water in there. Air is going up and down, up and down, up and down. So what it's doing is, I don't think this is actually it lets water in, I think, when the explosion happens, but it's not continually letting water in. So I don't think there's good liquid and gas transfer here. And so what I think the devs will eventually need to do is, I think that they had it working before, so hopefully they can get it working again, is they need to be able to let air out and water in. When a block is damaged, air needs to come out, water needs to come in. That's what we need. All right. Currently what's happening is it lets in some, but it stops. Is it still going now? It might still be going now. Let's see. Let's do our test here. Let's see if this is a bunch of bullshit now that people have been complaining about. I've done these tests before where it stops at some point, so let's play with it. So I've done nothing else. Okay, let me make sure my doors didn't get damaged. Okay, look. The doors didn't get damaged. If the doors got damaged, we would have a legitimate case where it's the doors letting water in. These doors are not damaged. All right, so no door damage at all here. Just hull damage. So let's let this run and see if it sinks, because people have been saying it's impossible. I currently I agree with them. We are going up. It is slow though. A lot of people they'll do a 5-minute test and then declare something is impossible. You need to do a longer test, frankly. You just have to, you know, if you want to do it. So let's do this real quick. Let's bring this back. Let's spawn this. Let's turn on the timer. And all right. Don't hit back there. Okay, good. I just want to hit in something else. All right, so water's coming in. Let's, we can leave this running. Fucker. Why is this timer? Oh, I didn't hook it up. Okay. No wonder. Let's see. What did I not hook it up to? It's hooked up. Why is it not running? Toggle buttons. Oh, because I didn't toggle this. So this toggle here has to connect. Okay. Let's go ahead and we will run this test over here. So that one's still running with the doors. All right. Boom. Timer is going. So we're going to time and see, this is the nice thing with these sort of tests. I can go AFK. We can go do something else. Every time we go like this, it pauses the timer. Every time we go on the workbench, it pauses the timer. So we don't have to worry about it. It's going to give us accurate results. This over here is still filling. Let's check on it. There's 37,000, 35,8. So there is a good potential here that eventually the air pressure might get too high and it stops letting water in. So let's look. No, we're at 1.07. We still should be taking in water. It's going to be very slow. If you can, so like, I don't have another barometer, but outside it's 1 atmosphere. Inside right now it is 1.07. The pressure inside of the ship is higher than the pressure outside of the ship. The pressure inside of the ship is making it so the water has to fight the pressure to come in. So that is going to slow down your rate. If you want to get the water to come in faster, you need to let the air pressure out. All right, so vents. If you want the water to come in even faster, that's the other test where we're literally pumping air out, because that's going to decrease the pressure. This is how my submarine works. I pump the air out. It drops the pressure below 1 atmosphere. The water pressure, whatever it's at, let's say it's at 1 atmosphere, now is greater than the air pressure. It easily comes in. So you have to keep that in mind as well. So like we are still taking in water. We're at 39. I think we're at 37 when I jumped over here. So we are taking it in, but it's going to be slow. All right, so again, I showed you how we could fix this. We could put air vents on. We can do a ton of more testing on this, but let's look. All right, so I'm looking at the wrong thing here. Let's see. So we don't have that much water in. Let's leave this running. So this is a pretty good test to see if this will eventually sink. And I can go do other things. I can leave this running all day if it takes, and it will give me an accurate an hour, up to an hour. I could make that timer. It's 3,600 seconds. I can make it as long as I wanted, you know. Thanks, Express. Appreciate it. You know, my videos are not made for everybody. Well, if everybody wants to watch them, great. But my videos tend to be longer, tend to be more in depth, and a lot of people get bored, or they I get many message of like, bruh, I'm not watching an hour-long video. And it's like, okay, don't watch an hour-long video. You know, did I tie you up and bring you in here and force you to watch my video? No. If you don't like it, don't watch it. You know, it's like, I think it's silly that people make those comments. It's like, I see videos all day that I don't like, and swipe away and continue on with your day. You know, there's a button right there on YouTube. It says, do not recommend this channel. And if you don't like it, click that, you know. But yeah, I appreciate that though, Express. Thank you. But yeah, I understand why some people it's too long of a video and they don't want to watch certain things, but it doesn't bother me. Just I really don't care. All right, let me fix this one. RTO. Okay, we'll do an RTO here. So maybe I'll do a stopwatch timer. This might be helpful to people. I've never done one before. That's why I kind of had to figure it out. So that will go like that. All right, so this is the new stopwatch working. So Just needed the RTO timer on it. Because I need to be able to reset it. All right, so those tests are running. Every time I go on the workbench, they should pause. So let's go ahead and let's play with something on the, I don't know, do I want to do drill testing? Let me see if I have an oil rig in place. I think I do on this. All right, so notice, see how that popped into place? That's important. All right, let's see if we can get this one to pop into place. Watch the center, the yellow thing, when I pop into the world. Okay, that's already in there. It's probably in there because we're literally right here, so that one's probably up. Let's see if we can get down here. See if this one will pop in. You know, in order for most games, they have to despawn parts of the world. They can't keep the whole world up. Okay, that one was in. So, likely, you'll see this bug a lot. People reporting that all my pumps are gone. So, like, if you go somewhere you haven't been in a while or at all, things snap into the world. So, like, if we go to Tajin, I gotta get in here real fast though, because the door is gonna be closed. I think. All right, the pumps are here already. Okay, so sometimes you'll notice if you teleport really quickly, the pumps will spawn in just like that yellow thing spawned in, and I think that's how people are losing their pumps is when they move, teleport quickly, or they load in. The game is not saving the position because this is an actual vehicle, I believe, these pumps. Yeah, like you can see them. They're actual physicalized things. I think these are actually categorized as a vehicle. And so they actually have to spawn in game. And it's like your vehicle didn't spawn in. And then the game saved without your vehicle being spawned in. And that's how I think people lose their pumps. And I think I've literally never had it happen to me. So I think it's a PC thing. Is their PC's probably too slow. And it ended up, it ended up not saving it fast enough because their PC was slow to load it in, and then I don't know if it's RAM or if it's in the right menu that it just doesn't write its position, and then they lose it. All right, this isn't drilled. I really don't want to spend time drilling right now. I would like to work on something, but we'll keep this testing going, and we'll work on something. Like, say we're under the world and we pop in. It's part of the world spawning in. And so I think that's when people lose their pumps, what happens. I wish we could change the brightness of these lights in here because, like, especially if I have a white build, it puts a big bloom on it. I'll have to see how you guys like today's thumbnail. Today's thumbnail is all composited. Composited. These are all cutouts. So I tried that today. I cut out the parts. So the helicopter's cut out, this is cut out, and this is cut out to kind of put the scene together instead of just making it with an add-on. But kind of neat. Just something a little different to play with. So if I want to put things in the world, I have them cut out now. So I can put them in the world as need be. I'll try to bring one up here if I can find it. Where the hell is it? Why are they not showing? I saved them. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know where they went, but here's the helo. So like I can cut this helicopter out now, and I can add it to things. What the hell's that all about? Yeah, so I can put this helicopter in now, and add them into scenes for thumbnails. It just makes it easier than like if I'm in a rush, I can just make a scene instead of having to make an add-on, because sometimes it takes longer. All right, let's see. I need to shut up display cap. All right, let's see. What do we want to work on here? We found to build something new, but I don't know how much longer we'll stream, but we'll play around a little bit here. Yeah, but does that stuff make sense to you guys? Why they probably like made the decisions they did? Because that's why I think they're doing it, and it's frustrating. It is that the game's not perfect, but I think you kind of have to just relax a little bit sometimes and say, hey, there's a lot to it, and it's going to take a while, and we don't want them to rush and screw something up. I'd rather them take their time and just get it right. You know, there was a criticism for Steam Tutorial 5. Somebody was saying, I don't need the valves. I know I don't need the valves. The point of this, too, is, like, part of building stuff in here is to make it fun. Like, there was a cool build I saw... Reddit? Or, see if it's on Reddit. It'd be easier if it's on Reddit to find it. But somebody made it cool. It looked like a real steam engine with pistons and crankshafts, and it was really neat. You know, you don't always build stuff because you need it. You build it because you want it. And so that's kind of why I do some of these things this way. Let's go ahead and grab... I want to check one of the earlier Steam Steam tutorial videos. Again, Steam doesn't work, right? There, Tripper. Let's see, turbine. Where's turbine? Turbine. Here's the last turbine one. I want to make sure the turbine's still running fine. They made some changes. I want to check it. We'll go over here while that's pumping, and we'll check on these. So there is 40,000. So this one's slowing down, likely because this pressure keeps... the pressure's not going up that much, but, you know, it's fighting the air pressure. So likely, if we put in some venting in here, this would go faster. You know, it would go a lot faster if it was venting the air. So for a lot of the people who are having issues, we'll recall this one. All right, so see this one's stuck at 28. Let's try something here with this one. So this one's not going anywhere, the explosion one. Okay, this is the explosion one. So let's try something. So let's do this. Let's go, and we'll cut out a whole segment here. All right, so what we're going to try to do here is we're going to try to vent the compartment. And we're going to see if by decreasing the air pressure in here, we can passively get this going. Because a lot of the people's complaints is, I hit a ship with a warhead and it doesn't sink, and they would like it to sink. And it's legitimate, it's fine. And so I'm trying to help them, you know, help figure out a solution for them so that they can have their fun too. Because that's the most important thing to me is, you know, I'd like everybody to have fun playing the game. You know, some people are, you know, they wake up with breakfast in bed and roses on their belly and they're going to cry about it. But can't do anything about those people, so why even bother, you know? Some people are content to be upset, so. Yeah, there are a couple people, especially, you know, in the Steam and Reddit who, you know, they don't play the game anymore, they don't enjoy the game, they're all pissed off, and it's like, I used to do those Star Assist, and it's like, now it's like, go do something else, man. Go find a game that you like. You know, you don't like this game? Fine, go find another one you like, man. Go enjoy your life. Stop being grouchy all day, you know? Oh, shiza. Alright, so this is what I was talking about, having these loops. I find these loops to be good because it pretty much makes it nigh impossible to clog up with the opposing fluid. You know, either being gas or liquid. Both are fluids, but, you know, if you're trying to get water out, you could theoretically airlock it, and if you're trying to get air out, you could waterlock it. So by doing this, it's going to give it a path to escape. So both water and air can go in the bottom here. They'll both go into the T-piece, and then the water will come back in the room because we're trying to flood the ship, and the air will go out. And so that will keep it from clogging. Otherwise, if any water gets stuck in here, it's never coming out. And so this gives it a path to get the hell out of there. So that's quite a bit. Not that it's 100% linear, but let's count them. 17, so what's that? 20, 34. 34 times 10, so 340 liters per second max, I would say we would get out of that. So let's try this now. So ideally what I'm trying to do is come up with a solution for people who want to sink ships to be able to do it. Oh my god. Okay, I thought I didn't see these. I thought I didn't have symmetry on. I thought I had symmetry on. Okay. Alright, let's see if this will flood faster. So it only went up to 2,800. I'm getting inconsistent results too. I think we had a much higher number on one of them. And then we didn't. So, I think the devs need to work on. They need to let water come through damaged blocks and in. Now, that sounds easy to me. It might be very, very difficult to do. Likely one of the things they'd have to do is, I don't know if this is the thing they have to do. Do they have to despawn every block that is in game that is damaged and then respawn it with a damaged mesh? That could be it, which is just visual. So you're despawning the visual mesh of this block. Are you actually spawning a mesh on top of it? And then if you're physically making water come in, are you despawning the collision? Well, no, because I can walk on it. So how the hell are they doing it? Are they making it so? Are they despawning the collision that only works with water? I don't know. So I'm very curious how they do it. And again, it seems pretty challenging. So I don't know how it's done. So let's see. We're still filling with water. So I'm interested in this test. This test likely has some promise. See, we're at 1 atmosphere there. Did I put in barometers? Let's check this barometer here. Okay, so look at this barometer. We're only at 1.0065-ish. We're still over 1 atmosphere, which means the pressure inside the hull is greater than the pressure outside the hull, which I don't know if it's still the case, but it used to be the case that if you made the pressure inside the hull greater than the pressure outside of the hull, the water would not come in. So I'm quite curious if that's what's happening. And that could be what's happening. And so anytime you get the pressure up, and so theoretically you might get to the point where you need to make sure you have enough venting or you need pumps to decrease the pressure. Like you can see there, we're not pushing out much. It's 1 atmosphere pushing out of here. But it's pretty negligible, so we might be able to fill. Yeah, see, we're up to 17.8. So we'll see if this keeps filling. So this is kind of the big test because this would be the easiest, and this would actually make it so that the people who enjoy blowing boats up and watching them sink, which it's not my cup of tea, but there's nothing wrong with it, would be able to enjoy their fun. And that would mean that the water is coming through damaged blocks. There is another solution I have that if they can't get that to work, and what you would do is you would hide doors in the hull. And the reason is this: if you damage one of these doors, they open up. And so what you would do is you put an electric hatch right here, and when the explosion goes off, what does it do? It opens the hatch. And then we know from this test over here that open hatches will sink. This one has 1 open hatch on it. It's taking a long time. This one's taking a long, long time. The other example that I had where we had all those hatches on the top to let the air out faster, those are going faster. And likely, if we give this air a better place to go out, like we just did in the other one, likely this one's going to sink pretty rapidly too, or more rapidly. Because it didn't take that long for the other one to sink. This one's taking longer because the air can't get out very fast. Because, let's say, for example, each of these doors allows in 10 liters per second. That means that it can only let in 5 liters per second of water and out 5 liters per second of air. If we doubled the doors, it means we can let in 10 liters per second of, double, essentially. So we'd be able to let in the same rate of water and air, but it would be faster, So that's what this test is doing here. This one's just passively filling with no air relief, essentially. We're just doing doors on this test. And it is working so far. We're at 43,000 liters. We are gaining water, but it is very, very slow. And I would say it's very, very slow because we're up over 1 atmosphere, so the air pressure is fighting the water coming in. But it's also probably helping the air get out the door, so. You've got some people in the community, too, who don't want to learn any of the new mechanics. We showed that in the conversation in the weekly update, was people were like, Steam's broken. And it's like, nope, it's not broken. It's different. It works. You just got to go learn how to use it, man. And so it's tough. Like, some people just, I can understand getting frustrated. It's a very complicated game, and it can get to the point where you just don't know what you're doing at that point, and it's tough, Right, so, yeah, they're still working. Somebody, I thought somebody said turbines were broken again. I don't know. It's working for me, man. It's working at the same rate it was before, so. You got to take when people say game broken, you got to take it with a big grain of salt sometimes. It's often just not the case. Like, this has minimal cooling here. You know, we're at 36. That's pretty good cooling, man. We're down to 36 degrees. That's pretty good. Ambient temperature down here is 29. We're only 6 degrees over ambient, so that's not bad. But this is running fine, so no problems with this. I just like to check the tutorials and make sure they're running if they're still working. If they don't work, I need to put out a new one. But people keep getting confused with, oh my god, my fluid volume went to 0. Okay, put a condenser in. You know, it doesn't need to be a high number. What you really care about is, you know, really, like, if you look here, it's the atmosphere. So we're at 51 atmospheres. Theoretically, we can go up to a maximum of 60. But do I really, like, is it worth it for me to put a second boiler in? Or I could probably put a pump in there to increase the pressure. We could test some things out. Maybe a pump here to pressurize the steam a little bit. There are probably some things we could do. Could I play with the temperature? You know, one criticism of one of my tutorial videos on Steam was that I didn't look at the pressure of the piston. And frankly, I don't care about the pressure of the piston. What I care about is the output. I care about the end product, which for me was electricity. And so I changed the input numbers, the temperature, to give me maximum output, which is electricity. I don't care about the pressure. The pressure is irrelevant to me. What I care about is what's my output value. And I want the highest output value, so I configure my input value to just give me the highest output. So I didn't care about pressure. That's why I never even looked at pressure. I don't care. Like, the only thing that pressure in the turbine matters to me is that I have a maximum of 9 more atmospheres I could put on there, max. If I go 10, I'm wasting energy because I can't go over 60. So frankly, it doesn't really matter to me, except if I know that this system could be a little bit more efficient. But it's, what's that? Do some math here. 6 divided by... You know, so it's 5%. My brain's tired on math, but you know, we could go up another 9 atmospheres maximum. So we're operating what, around 90% something efficiency. So like, I don't really care about going higher than that. You know, if I really, really needed a little bit more electricity, could I do a couple things to get this up higher? Probably. But I really don't care. You know, it's at the end of the day, I could probably change this temperature maybe to increase the pressure, and that would get it to be a little bit more efficient. But you know, that's just kind of my method. Is the pressure doesn't really matter to me. It's what's the output, what's the input. If I want the output to be higher, play with the input until it gets to its max, and then you know you're at where you're going to get. You know, it's just a different method. Pancakes, Swedish style pancakes. Oh, yes. Yeah, no ball broken. That's our inside joke on Steam when people say it doesn't work. Like, it works. It's sitting right here. It works. You know. But again, people, I don't mean it doesn't work. It works weird. You know, it's like, well, you didn't say that, man. You said Steam doesn't work, and then you get a new player who says, "Oh crap." Somebody said module engines don't work. Somebody said cooling doesn't work. Somebody said ships don't float right. Somebody said, or ships don't sink. Somebody said that Steam doesn't work. The game must be in a terrible state. Oh my God, dude, I play every day, and it's fine. The problem is a lot of people just don't understand it, and that's fine. But you know, don't go on, you know, the internet and tell everybody the game's completely 100% broken. Be specific. Say, I can't use a warhead to sink a ship. Maybe you're right. You know, it's looking right now like with this setup, yeah, you're probably not going to get this thing to sink in any sort of reasonable amount of time. Now, I'll start doing, like, here's the venting, so that's likely a problem. So here, let's see if we can fix this up so we can sink it with a warhead. And you know what? They'll probably change it at some point and make it work better. But here, let's go like this. 2 doors. Let's do 3 doors. Screw it. Do 6 doors. Screw it even more. 6 doors. Okay. There are 6 doors there. And we'll go like this. Alright. Merge these in. That's it. Alright. Spawn it. let's go down there. And now the doors are open. Oh my god, look at that. Right? Doors are open. So let's see what happens here now with this test. So the timer is going. Stopwatch. Hey, look, we're already where we were last time. We're exceeding where we were last time. So this is essentially the test we have over there, but with air vents. So, same test. So, yes, do I think the devs should make it so that damaged areas let in as much air and water as a door that is open? Absolutely. Like, because what's happened is all this blackened area here that's damaged is letting in less water and letting out less air than these 6 doors that I added. So should these let in and out? Absolutely. But it might be a bigger ask than we're asking. Like here, these 2 opened up too when it blew up. But so we have more than that. We have 8 doors open. But let's check the flow rates on these. Yep, we're pushing out about a liter and a quarter per second. All right, so let's see where this gets to. Because I'll make a tutorial where people can see it, you know, where they can, like, hey, just put a door, like you can have ballast tanks, you can hide the doors, and then when, you know, when the explosion goes off, it opens the doors, like, automatically, like that, because as soon as they lose their integrity, the door pops open. You know, so we'll see what happens here. Likely what I think's happening is the air pressure goes above 1, and it just slows down to a crawl. You know, because the water pressure is at 1, the air pressure is greater than 1, and it's keeping some of the water out, is what I'm thinking's happening. So, like, we can test that right now, very simply, with plugging this back in here. So, like, again, you know, you can either grouch about the game all day, or you can just, like, do some small fixes and play. You know, and so, like, yeah, there you go. Alright, so now that's going. Are these blowing? Alright, this is pushing large quantities of air out. And what we're looking to do is try to get this barometer below 1. There it is. Barometer's below 1. Now, I think it's like an on-off switch in the game. If the water pressure is greater than the air pressure, water comes in. You know, and so I think that's the thing. Let me see. How's it going there, Rasmus? Good to see you. Okay, good, yeah. Yeah, it definitely comes in. It's the air pressure is the limiting factor. You know, so like what we'll do is we can do a test where I get rid of those doors that get damaged and we just drop the air pressure. You know, I think part of the issue is the air is getting trapped in there. It's not pushing out effectively. Like, say we're pushing over 1 atmosphere now. And we're, you know, you can see we're stuck around 27,000. Let's see if this ever goes up high enough to sink us, because we needed like 182,000 liters of water to sink this bad John. Sorry, I was just typing a message here. Just waiting for this to see what it does. Yeah, see what it's doing? This is what's been happening, and it's like, it's leveling out there. It's like not going up over 28. This is going up and down. Like, this is the behavior that people have been having issues with, and so I'm curious how much air is coming back in through the doors here. Because I think some air is coming in and out and in and out of the doors, so I think that's part of the problem here. Because you notice the air is coming back in too, and so it's pushing the water back out. So that's kind of a problem. Let's do a test here. Let's get rid of these doors. Let's try it with just damage. Because it's not acting like a one-way valve. All right, let's try that. Because like you see, it got to like 27 and it stalled, and it didn't do much. Patience is part of it, but I'm also trying to test because like people complain about this too don't seem to aren't necessarily people with the most amount of patience either. So because it looks like once it gets to a certain atmospheric pressure inside, it pretty much stops letting the water in any appreciable amount, or slows it to a crawl. You can see like now we're pushing up on 1. Okay, now notice it is dipping below. So this probably works better. So I'm curious if the doors are letting air in and out too much, and we'll see. Like there's 5. Yeah, we might be hitting a wall again here. Let's see. I think we're hitting a wall here. I could put one-ways on those valves. Let's try that real quick. So this will allow air to go in one way if I do it this way. So let's go. Because, part of this too is it's like I'm trying to make this so that some sort of guide until they fix this, where the people who want to sink ships with warheads, again, they have to be specific what they're trying to do, because they keep saying you can't sink ships, and then you say, yeah, you can sink ships. Look, here's proof. And they're like, no, I meant with warheads. And it's like, okay, well, you did say that, man. So it's like I just did 2 hours of testing and to try to help you out, and now you're saying you want something different. Be specific. And that's why I have some sympathy for the devs sometimes. I see these bug reports, I'm like, oh my god. Like, they'll literally go fix what people ask for, and they'll be like, well, that's not what I meant. It's like, well, put more than 3 words, dude, when you ask for something. Shade. Alright. So that's got one-way air valves on there, so hopefully the air won't go in and out, in and out. So this, we'll see what this does. We got to watch the pressure. The pressure seems to be the main issue. Is once it hits a certain pressure, it's going to stop the water from coming in, and the air also wants to escape. So the air is trying to push out through the door and everything else too, I think. Like, the other thing, too, is, like, another option I was thinking is flood valves, because I think if the bomb goes off and it damages them, will they still flow water? That's the other question. Yeah, I've never played Scrap Mechanic. A little bit too simplistic for what I'm interested in. A little more cartoony, too. Cap, do you think the color palette setting affects gameplay? Like, I don't know what you mean by that. Okay, your ship sinks with the warhead. Yeah, like, see, I'm having issues with sinking some things like this, so I'm curious. Like, this is the issue people are having. I'm trying to replicate their issue and see what's up. Like this. Like, this one's even stalled out over here. No, it's not stalled out. It's just slow. Like, this one here is, see, like, the water's going down. It's going up. That's going all down. Look at the water. The water's going out. What the fuck? See, the water's going out now? There we go. Weird, man. Is it because because literally you can use air to push the water out. And that's part of what's going on here is the air pressure gets to a certain point and then it won't go out. You know, because theoretically here, let's bring up paint. That's the whole point of what watertight doors are all about is, like, when you build a ship, that's, like, this is the thing is, like, it's, you know, you're most of the time you're building things not to cause disasters, and people want them, or some people want them to cause a disaster, and it's like, kind of like the point not to have these disasters, but from a gameplay standpoint, you can understand, yeah, it's fun to sink a ship, you know. So, like, Christ, where is it? Rectangle, why are you not dragging? What is going on? This has been giving me problems today. Okay, I thought I pressed black and I didn't. Okay, get bent. Oh my god, stop it, paint.net. Alright, Jesus, 5 times. Alright. Alright, there's our ship. Alright, so ideally, with a watertight door, let's go. Oh, you fucker. Why is that not trying to get around this line here? I don't know why. There we go. Okay. Alright, so there's our ship in the ocean here, and let's do this. Alright, there's the air. And so the whole point of a watertight door is you want to make it so that try to do it as compartments here. So let's get a compartment in here. So like if this is your you know, your underwater line section here, and you put some watertight doors in. So you have your watertight sections in the ship is all right, so there are your compartments. And so, like, if you were to damage this section here, so you damage this section here, right? Now all the water can come in. So the water is going to come in. All right, so the water wants to come in here, and it's going to want to go all the way to the top because this is where the water line is, right? So you figure the water wants to go all the way up here, but there's still air in there. So the air is this color. And so eventually the water is going to push the air all the way to the top, like so. And the water is going to come in all the way in the bottom here. So I can get it to paint and not be an absolute pain in the balls. All right, so like it's going to look like that. As the water comes in, it's going to compress the air there. Now, if you wanted this compartment to completely fill with water, what you have to do is vent the air out. So you need to have a path for the air to get from here. And pick the right color, you jackass. So you need a path for the air to go back out to the atmosphere, and then that will go out, and then this can now fill with water. Fucker. You suck. All right, so you know that you need a venting to be able to push that air somewhere, because this is going to get to a high pressure air, and so if you figure if the if you figure if this is 1 atmosphere of water pressure there, and then this here is 1 atmosphere, for the most part, they're going to cancel out. And that's how the game was running, is if you go over 1 atmosphere, the water pressure is only at 1 atmosphere. The air pressure is now greater than the water pressure, and it can't go anywhere. Because the air is compressing and it's pushing back, right? Every reaction has an equal and opposite reaction. So as the water pushes the air and it compresses, eventually it's going to be pushing back at the same rate that it's pushing in, and it's going to stop the water intrusion. And so you'll eventually get to that area. Now, if we increase the air pressure, so let's say we increase the air pressure to 10 atmospheres. Right now, this is greater, so what's going to happen is this is how we make a moon pool, right? So we do we start to make a moon pool, and oh, you fucker! In my mind, I switch colors, and in the game, or in the thing, I didn't. So now what's happening is the air pressure is higher, so it's pushing the water out. This is how moon pools work: is your air pressure exceeds the water pressure, it pushes it out. So theoretically, if you had strong enough air pumps, you could pump the air to the level of the break. And so then eventually what's going to happen, the problem is you're going to, if you keep pushing any more air, it's going to go blah, 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 and it's going to come out, and it's going to try to go to an area of low pressure. It's going to try to equalize out. So the air is going to go like there. So it's going to go eventually out the hole. And so that's kind of, one of the potential issues is as the air pressure increases, it might be pushing the water back out the hole as well. And so now you have the air pressure is too high in the ship, and now the water can't go any higher. And that's, I think, what we're running into is the air pressure, some of that air escapes. That's why the needle dances, is it goes, up, zip, see ya. And then the water is also being kept at bay here. So the water will go in and out, in and out, in and out, but it will never stabilize. So like if we wanted to sink, we need to cut a hole. We'll just do this color here. You fucker. I need to think. What's the shortcut? K. Okay. K, and then what's the shortcut for this? I gotta figure out these shortcuts. F. Okay. So, what's the shortcut for this? B. Okay. So, like, let's say we put a hole in here, right? So, water is gonna start. Now, if the atmosphere in here is 1, and the atmosphere in there is 1, you're gonna get some water start to come in. And eventually, the air pressure is gonna exceed the water pressure, and that's as far as she goes. And so then you're going to get to the point where the air is in there. So you need a place for the air to escape. That's why we're doing air venting, right? So you're going to run into this situation unless you vent the air out. And so you need to vent that air out, and you need to get that air out fast enough. So that's why we've been doing pumps, is to draw less atmosphere. So as long as this is 1 atmosphere, or greater than 1, as long as it's greater than 1, and this here is less than 1, it's gonna flow properly to sink your ship. And so I think that's some of the issues we're running into. So I have to see like how to actually, because we have to fake it to a certain extent until they work on it. So like if we look at the barometer here, the barometer is over 1. All right, so that's like the water is trying to come in, but you notice the air is barely moving now. Let's go check this. Let's see what time is on this. So we're down to 1544, so 3600 minus 1544 is 2056 divided by 60. So that's taken 34 minutes. So, yeah, this is way too slow. As you can see, 34 minutes, we need a lot more. This is going to take hours, literally hours for that one to sink in that case. This one here is stuck at 38. What's the pressure in here? Just over 1. Like you see, this one dips below 1, so likely that will allow water in. It might be pretty stabilized at this point and not let much in. So that it's an understandable issue. So I'm curious how they're gonna fix this. Let's see how this system's working here. So you can see this is only pissing out air in one direction because I put in the one-way valve, so it can only send air out. Now, one thing we could test is so that is a desirable effect on a ship, right? You don't want a ship to sink. Unfortunately, in-game, people want the ship to sink. And so they want it to do some unreasonable behavior. And so that is understandably, it's understandable they want to do that. It's a game. They want to do sinking ship survival. I get that. I have nothing against that. But let's do electric. So, like, I just want to come up with a solution where I can help the people who want to do that type of gameplay play it until the devs come up with a more innate solution, and then you don't have to worry about it. So, like here, bang. All right, that hatch should have popped open. Okay, the hatch is open, so we should hopefully be able to let more air out. Let's see how the air reacts. Check our pressure here. So, like I haven't been able to get a system where it innately syncs with damage yet. Just got more messages to check. Yeah, like see here, that's a problem. So they do need to do some work on this, but again, it's not my primary type of gameplay, so I don't really care. But I do understand that there are people that this is the only way they play the game. Is they download something off the workshop and they sync it, and that's how they have fun. And it doesn't mean it's wrong, it's just how they like to play, and they can't play right now because of that. So I'd like to see it fixed, but I just don't know any quick solutions here. Like the version I had that syncs well, not even with damage, is this one. Like we've been at this for a while, and it's like I haven't figured out anything that's super simple to just do, Like sync test 2 is fucked up. Yeah, I'd have to redo some of this, but here, let's see. Yeah, but I'm not going to keep doing these, but yeah, so you can kind of see it's a legitimate concern people have, but again, it's a balancing thing. It really is. There are certain people who, they don't want their ships to sink. I don't want my ships to sink. I want to be able to hit a dock, damage it, and be able to repair the ship without it sinking instantly, because it's like, how the hell am I raising a home ship? I'm not, So if I go hit an island over there, I want to be able to get my ship, out of there. And so that's problematic, and it could be some fun gameplay, definitely. Like, for example, you blow a hatch, it sinks, or you fill a compartment. Let's say it sinks all together. You close all the compartments, and then you add a pump out. Why is my phone going off constantly? You add a compartment. Sorry, I'm flushed it now. My phone won't shut the fuck up. So, like, this would be kind of cool. Put these on your ship. Put pump outs. Like, go like this. Liquid. Go like this, and then have like one of these on your ship. You go dive down your ship. You open all the interior doors. You close all the exterior doors. You have one pump out on the ship, and you just slowly pump it out, and it raises up, and then bingo, you're good. So that's so I don't know. I still haven't found a good solution to this. I'm gonna find the other sink ship here. But like again, I was talking about the hyperbole of people saying you can't sink ships. You absolutely can. Like, the chat's full of people who have sunk their ships recently. If you guys have any like setups that work for sinking well damaged, go ahead and send them to me. I'll take a look at them. Like, this is the best and fastest with a pumping system. But like, I don't like the pumping systems because really it should sink without pumping it out. Let's quickly make another test here. Screwed this test up last time when I didn't copy it. I ended up. Okay, let's go like this. And let's do no pump. Let's just do doors, because we did sink one with just doors, so it did work with just doors. And you're always going to get some people who are always going to be like, it's not fast enough. There are some people that if something doesn't happen in 5 minutes, oh my God, you stole from them. You stole their life from them. Oh my God, where's their youth now? So those people you're never going to make happy anyway. So no point. But most reasonable people are like, yeah, it's, you know, I'd say 20 minutes is good. I think you don't want to go too low because people need time to be able to, if they want to rescue their ship, to be able to do it, you know? You know, there's the timer going. This one's taking in water. I think this one runs fine. I think this one sinks fine. This one has enough in and out. We'll see. But, yeah, so, like, this stopwatch will tell me, so I'm going to let this run. But yeah. Read some of this chat. Yeah, Rasmus talking about, like, you know, you get the people component of it, like, you know, front end stuff versus back end stuff, and it's like, you know, one person having a problem logging in, and it was you know, changed the password and it worked, and it's like stuff like that. It's like, you know, somebody saying that ships can't sync. It's just they didn't come to that conclusion of how to make ships sync yet, or ships sync how they want. And instead of saying, I haven't figured out how to make ships sync yet like this, does anyone know how? They say, game broken, game no work, you know, because, you know, they don't know if it's something they're doing or not. Yeah, we're doing a little testing here and there. That's all right there, Zach. You can always rewatch if you like. What? Before the pressure update, pump doesn't work underwater for what reason? Because it's coded? I don't know what you mean. The pumps worked underwater. There was an issue where you couldn't overcome well, it was coded for atmospheric pressure, essentially, so... eventually you get to a point where it must have been, I don't know if it was based on depth, where the pumps couldn't overcome the pressure. Now the water pressure, from what the devs have said, goes to a maximum of 30. And so the water pressure is a maximum of 30, and you can pump to a maximum of 60 atmospheres, so you should always be able to pump out. So that was an issue before the update where you could, like, subs you would have to cheat to work. That's the other thing. Like, when people like roll back before pressure, it's like those people weren't building subs, I guess, because like subs are so much better now. Like, I built my realistic sub there. It works perfectly how it should IRL, and it's great, you know. I had a pressure tank pumping 2 atmospheres in the tank all the time, but wondering, like, if you want to pump out your ballast tank or your ship, increasing the air pressure as high as possible is going to help you push the water out. You know, that's how my subsystems work, is it takes high pressure, 60 atmosphere air, it pumps it into the ballast tanks, and then the pumps have essentially negative 60 atmospheres to fight against. And so they pump out very quickly. And then when you're going to pump in, the air is sucked out of the tanks, bringing it to a negative atmospheric pressure. It only goes down to like 0.2 maybe. And so the pumps can essentially push to 60.8, you know. But like you see, this one's already up at 60, much faster, right? With a bunch of doors open. It has no vents. These are not running. These are off. You know, so this is likely... I think what's happening, too, is I think these doors are essentially acting like fluid ports. And they're clogging. And so they can only take so much air and water in there. It's a number value. And we went over some of the things like, you know, you don't want the air to blow you out of the hatch. We did a test with that. I pressurized a container, and you can't get back in because the air is pushing you out. You wouldn't want that in-game. You know, so I think it's a balancing issue. You know, I have patience with this stuff because, again, it's not my major... I don't even like to do sink and ship anything. I have no desire to sink a ship. So for me, it's easy for me to say, yeah, it's a trivial thing because I don't care about it. But I do, you know, I do want other people to enjoy the game too. So it's like, you know, I can understand that if that's their main form of enjoying the game, you know, just sinking ships with their friends, that they can't do that right now, and it's a bummer. And for them, they go on Reddit and they say the game's completely broken because for them, their game, which is a sinking ship survival game, which this is not just that, is completely broken. But, You know, that's the thing. And I wish people would just de-hyperbolize a little bit, because it's like, I see it all the time. It's one of the only reasons I stay on Reddit and Steam is new players come in and they're like, oh, I heard the game's broken, you know, should I even start playing? Or I just bought the game and everybody's saying the game's broken. Oh, you know, that's too bad. And it's like, no, it's not completely broken. It's like, you know, I play constantly. Most of my stuff works. It's just, you got to know what you're doing, which usually you know, I taught myself most of what I'm doing in this game, you know, but you got to take some time and learn these mechanics, and things are going to break, and, you know, got to go do something else if the thing you wanted to do today is completely broken, but most of it's not completely broken, you know. Most of it's working, actually. So like we said, this takes about 182,000, so we're about, that I know of. So we're about a third of the way there, so we can extrapolate with this sinking system here. What are we down? Let's say 250. So 3,600 minus 3,250. 350 divided by 60. So it's been 6 minutes, 5.8 minutes. So this one, 15 minutes. This should probably sink, I would say, unless it slows down. So we'll go do something else for a little bit. I'll probably end up, my voice is starting. I'm starting to lose my voice, but but you see, we are consistently filling. I think that's part of the problem is the doors are working better. Now, if you have a ship, let's say you have Triton or you have the home ship, it has a bunch of doors on it. If you really want to sink the ship, open the doors, man. You know, open all your exterior doors. That's going to give you a good area to get this thing blown out. So, like here, we take this ship here. I got to work on the crane controls. I'm not thrilled with how they're set up. Oh, I'll show you guys what I worked on. Seeing I worked on it yesterday, but I tuned in the PIDs on this. So we'll give that a run. But, like, if you wanted to sink it, you would want to... There's a reason why these doors look like this. These are watertight doors, all right? They're airtight and they're watertight, right? And so there's a rubber seal in these doors, and there's a channel, and the channel's here, and this whole wheel here, so you have enough torque to be able to close the door very tightly. And so the water can't get through there and the air can't get through there. And so, like, oh my God, my ship is sinking. Well, what would you do? Let's say your ship's sinking IRL. Again, you know, we're trying to sink things in this game, but likely it's on the lowest level, right? Oh my God, we sprung a leak in the engine room. Okay, we sprung a leak in the engine room. Okay, oh my God, what do? We shut the door. Done. This ship will not sink now if that's full of water. Okay, so real quickly, we can test that. Take a spawner. Put that right here. And we'll make it seawater. Spawn it. Right, that's what the ship would look like. Now, it has the fins. The fins are helping it go down right now. So, sitting on the bottom, that's what the ship would look like if that was 100% full of water. Right, and that's the whole point of these doors, is to be sealed doors. Now, this is a problem, as you can see. This is one of the issues that we're running into, is the doors are not letting the liquid through. And so we make these pools. That's a problem, and they need to fix it at some point. But this is like what's happening with what we're going on. That should be pouring into here, because it likely is pressurized. You notice it doesn't want me in there, because it's goofy. It's absolutely goofy, and they need to fix it. But that's what's going on here, right? And so you would shut the door. So if you wanted to sink it, you'd want to open up all these doors. See if we can get the air pressure out. See if it's pressurizing us. Might be pressurizing us, but they definitely need to work on how the doors interact with one another. Like, you see, this is goofy. That's starting to fill now, actually. Like, let's get this sucker to sink. Okay. Alright, so this should be letting air out of those doors. That's why I'm opening up the upper doors, is to let some air out. If the air would get trapped in, it would make it harder to sink. And let's go back down. We'll see the progress of the sinking. So there's definitely something weird with how it, like, hits it, but, like, this is sinking fine. Like, notice that. That is normal. So I'm curious if it's because of a spawner. So does a spawner react differently than, like, this is sinking very naturally. Notice the angle's correct. It's going through the doors. So I'm curious, like, this is really cool. Like, oh my God, let's get at it. This is fun. I can kind of see what those weirdos are doing. are doing with their life. You know, it's kind of fun. Like, imagine if your ship's sinking like this. So how would you save it in real life? Well, one, shut the freaking door that's letting the water in, right? And then you would close up all the upper doors so the air can't escape, because the air is help keeping you buoyant. It's decreasing the density, and it's keeping the, you know, it's keeping the water from coming in. But, like, I could see this as being an enjoyable form of gameplay, you know. You know, so I would like to see them fix it, but it is interesting what's up with that spawner. Like, here, let's go. Where's winch door? There we go. Winch door's open. Let's make it worse. Let's open the garage, too. See, like, that's weird. But it's filling. Notice it's filling. So it is coming through the door. It's just weird. You know? Just a little bit weird how it's doing it. You know, so there's something with that spawner. The spawner is almost acting like it's a... I think it's like the spawner is making a cube of water, and it's always going to be there. It's kind of weird until other water hits it or something. I don't know how it works, but... Well, like, see, we are sinking pretty naturally. Yeah, you can see this would be fun. Oh, yeah, look, we're sinking. Oh, my God, let's get out. Or, you know, what I would do is, okay, we're sinking. Let's stop it and try to recover our ship before we hit the bottom, you know. And it's sinking slowly, too, because the stern is touching the ocean floor. Like, here, we'll go up and we'll look at it. Whoop, the wrong way. Right here. The stern is touching the bottom, so it's actually, we're resting in the bottom here. See all the oil now? That's the other thing, too, is there's no... This is the other bug that definitely does need to be fixed, is there is no oil in the ship that should be leaking. And there is. So one thing I'm... Like, when you were noticing that the liquid meter was showing that there was fresh water, I am curious if a little bit of oil is being spawned in, too. And that's problematic, you know? So, like, this ship is opened up right now. Like, is this as fast as it would sink in real life? No, but, you know, again, I've explained the reasons why, you know, and they make sense. They really do make sense why you don't need this to sink as fast as you do in real life. You still want to be able to, like, do some intervention and try to pump it out if you know, if you wanted to. Some people do. But, you know, we're sinking pretty reasonably here. We have oil everywhere. Like, that's, like, you know, again, I certainly agree with the complaints about the oil. Is like, I literally have nothing in the ship that should be spewing oil. There's no inflow for oil. There should be no path for that oil to go. But, oh my God, you can't sink a ship. Of course you can. Look at that. See the water pressure. The water pressure is being pushed through the hoses there. That's interesting. Let's check on this one here. See how this one's doing. Still it's kind of stalled out. Yeah, I don't know why these are stalling out. There's definitely something funky going on with the doors. Absolutely. You know, I agree with that. There's something going on with these. And, but, you know, hopefully they get fixed eventually. You know? You know, and in a way that makes people like me who don't want to sink a ship ever, so I can have a good time, and so the people who want to sink ships can have a good time. Because it sucks when you can't play the way you want to, you know? Yeah, Orange Tent is experiencing mechanical failure. I've gotten that one before. That's funny. Yes, yep. That's the submarines. People used to use the air manifold from the modular engines to delete the water. So I always made neutrally buoyant submarines, and I had no problem. But you know, it is nice that you can also make it positively and negatively buoyant submarines. But yeah. Yeah, so there's definitely something going on here. Like, did a bunch of testing today. We got some to sink, we got some not to. Damaging's pretty much not working. Like using the what do you call it? Warheads and stuff doesn't really do it. I don't know why this is pumping. Probably the air pressure pushing that water out. Well, like you can see, we can sink a ship. It's just, it's a little bit funky. Hopefully they come up. Like here, there's an air pocket trapped here. That is cool. Like, notice there's an air pocket here. It is cool to have air pockets. We could get to, like, here. Watch. Let's see if it fixes this. Alright, we're drowning, we're drowning, we're drowning. We're in an air pocket. We're alive. Okay. Drowning, drowning, drowning. Oh my god, we need an air pocket to live. Okay, let's go back here. This is kind of fun and cool to be able to do that now. There we go. Grab some air, please. There, Johnny. He's going in and out too fast. But that's because the angle blocks, I think, is holding on to the air. I like his noise. But yeah, so, you know, you can sink things. The oil is funky, man. They got to work on the oil at some point. You know, I'm all for, like, you know, this is nuts. There is oil. There's no path for this oil to go. Like, where is it coming out of here from? It's sealed in this tank here. Unless I damage something, which I should have checked. Unless I damage the oil tanks, they shouldn't have come out. So I don't know where the oil was coming out of. The other thing, too, is I'm curious if the air relief valves are not perfect filters, if sometimes they let a little bit of whatever out, and that's what's happening. But here, let's spawn this. I'll show you this real quick, and then we'll probably get off. So I tuned in the PID for, I did stability yesterday for this. I left the flutter in there, you bastard. All right, let's get in there. All right, the spawner's gone now. All right, so I worked on the stability system on this. It has front and rear fins on it now. I tuned them in. They pretty much work at all speeds. A little bit funky at 100% wind, but everything is funky at 100% wind. It's going to be weird at 100% wind. It always is. Yeah, there was a bang on the floor, so I'm curious if I broke the ass of it. I'm just waiting for this temp to come up and get going here. But all right, here comes pressure. Like, even with this being a steam system, it really doesn't take very long for it to get going here. All right, so did I finish this? Thought I finished this. So it's still a little bit. Bow's coming up a little bit more than I want, so I'll have to see what's up with that. Turn on infinite electricity, make sure that's off. Okay. So let's put in a little bit of put in some wind. Yeah, like you can see why people are annoyed by the oil. It's just like, one, they just need a clean up all oil button. Put it in, man. Give us a clean up all oil button. You know people are annoyed by like the oil. You know some people have no interest in ever dealing with it, which is fine. So just let them have a clean up all oil button. You know, come here, go clean up oil. Bingo, all the oil disappears. You know, great. You know, like I'm sick of the oil from, I did a little spill when I was building my refinery, and I still am getting oil. And so, yeah, it's annoying. You know, so put a button in there, devs, that says clean up all oil. Click it, and it just cleans up all the oil. You know, I think I don't know how they're doing this, but it's like really like if you spill 2,000 liters of oil, it should have a maximum area it goes to, and then it's like, yep, that's it. Like people are literally getting the whole map, and it just like keeps duplicating. So that's weird. Yeah, so the oil definitely needs a work, but you can see here like I've got the stability system in here, so it runs pretty. It's not perfect, but it's running. The bow is still up a little bit higher than I like, but runs pretty realistically. Like, I could decrease the p-value in the bow a little bit. Maybe not. And get it to drop some more. Put a little bit more variability in it so it doesn't sit so flat. But that's at 50. And then 100, you always get a little bit of weirdness at 100. It's fine, but it's like... The problem is the way the waves work. It will let the propellers come out of the water just a hair, and you might get a little bit of a stutter. But that's 100. It's working pretty well. Like there, we'll get a little stutter maybe right on this next trough. Like it's pretty good. It's not perfect, you know. Comes out too much, but that's, you know, the wind is... The ship is super light compared to what it'd be IRL, so it, you know, the wind like there just got a stutter on. But like what would you do in real life in heavy winds, you would slow down. So we'll slow down to like 75%, and that should probably, you know, reduce the chance of that happening. Like there, it's gonna the propellers come out because it's weird the way the waves kind of like bridge you. You know, so it's just kind of a game thing, but it works all right. Just needs some more tuning, needs some more work. But it works pretty well. All right, let's wrap this up here. I don't think I changed anything on that. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and thank the members. All right, so thank you to Side Mountain, Connor Bull, Danny, Sergeant Chaos, Aaron Repairs All, Citrus, Rasmus, Mandaviar, and Anton Anderson for being members. Thank you to Chicken Sore for being a patron. If you guys are interested in that, it's in the description below. Thank you to all the subscribers, and if you guys have not subscribed and enjoyed the content, consider subscribing. And if you guys would like the video, that always helps me out. So I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.